needs a 7.3. Dimitri Ouvray, a 7.77. And remember, Bruce Irons, not once but twice, has backdoored his way in the dying minutes of a heat to go, ha ha, I'm a living legend, you're not.
Not just backdoored.
Yeah.
Imagine paddling out and actually saying that to someone in your heat. Hey guys. There you go. Anyway, yeah, he hasn't just done it, Sal, he's done it on bombs.
On nuts waves.
Big, crazy ones. Have a look at this, late and under the lip, falling in under this one, dealing with it beautifully. Marco Giorgi, what is he doing out there? He has tapped it.
Once again, Uruguay. Look it up, because it's on the map. And he's putting Uruguay on the map at Pipeline right now.
How intense was that drop? How
that was
hard
nuts.
is it to swing under that lip that late?
Hey, I tell you what, boys, there's got to be a wave over there that's similar to this, because this guy looks like he's been doing it in his sleep.
He said there isn't. He said there's got nothing. Either he's sandbagging us, he's sitting on a secret, we might have to send out a search party, or that's really the case. He's just been sitting and dreaming and manifesting some weird destiny. Look at this thing. I mean, he didn't get the barrel of barrels, but negotiating that ain't easy.
It just goes to show where he's at in his head, though, because to take that wave that late, I mean, that we're used to seeing maybe John and Jamie do that, but to see a guy turn up here, make his way, you know, into the quarterfinals, and to swing that late and do that, that is incredible.
Whew. 8 minutes and 50
seconds
to go. And this is what we wanted on the finals day. I mean, we have a really strong chance of calling this thing a game, set, match before the sun sets here on the North Shore. But what just an incredible last 5 days it's been here. There's, you take a look at Papa Robinson.
Yeah, Trev would be out there. He's one of the best to stand next to when Jack's in the water. Just throw a few curveballs his way and he gets a little bit rattled.
He gets rattled really easy. And then he thinks maybe you might have a microphone on to the judges and you can do something about it. And you're like, Trev, there's nothing I can do. I'm right there with you. This guy just got done grinding up some his own almond butter. Says what's up to the guy.
There he is. That guy.
He's feeling his arms going, yeah, you've been doing some chin-ups. Patet, some quick, what do you reckon Patet's saying to him?
Probably just giving him some advice.
About what, some Nazi Garang? what could you tell Kelly out there?
You know, just keep it chill.
Hey, Patet, for as much as he's captain good times, he's no slouch out here.
No. No, he's a legend, Patet.
Patet Murta, he's one of the greatest ambassadors of Indonesian good times. If you ever get a chance to meet him, just follow him on Instagram and you'll see that we're not crazy.
You know what? We haven't seen Kelly really own a heat yet. He's had a few frustrating heats. He's had a few kind of good mid-range scores. He looked a little frustrated yesterday in terms of just trying to find the one, you know, the one that was basically breaking all day long. He had a few macking sets in his heat. They were like double-up roll-ins. He tried a few floaters.
Yeah.
I mean, floaters, I think it was like
floater on some weird 8-footer.
8-foot foam ball.
You're just like, what do you do kicking out? But he actually, in his brain, thinks that he can make it. If you haven't had the ability to be with us the last 3 days and you're wondering what we're talking about, don't stress. Just go to Red Bull TV and check out our video analyzer. Type in Kelly Slater and you'll get all of his waves and you'll be like, oh, I know what they're talking about. He did actually try to float some weird inside 8-foot foam ball, as well as searching by country, by name, by excellent score. You can do all that with the video analyzer. This guy's been sitting on priority for a moment, and there he is, Bruce Irons, nice and slow. I love that slow high line out of the pipe barrel.
He does look like he's surfing in slow motion. He's got it down. It's home break. It's too easy, and he could do it in his sleep probably. But this is one of the bigger waves of this heat, and Bruce is just getting in, parking it, just sitting on the brakes really, baby.
He makes it look like a little left shore. That's how easy he does it. Like, that's a really hard wave to ride, and he just made it look so easy. And the quick kick out, get back out there, try and drop something else under his belt. Bruce is only sitting on a 1.27 and a 0.63, so he's a smart competitor as well. Remember, he was on the CT. He has won CT events, so he knows how to compete.
And he has doubled down his commitment this season. Great point. And you see that that rising sun paint job on the bottom of his board. Andy Irons made those famous. He has dedicated this year of renewed passion that he's doing it for both himself and for Andy. You know, somewhere Andy's having a good smile saying, yeah.
Big time, big time. We did an interview with Jamie O'Brien not so long ago, Sal, for an Andy tribute issue that Surfing World put out, and he was saying, you know, when Andy got home from tour and the first big pipe swell hit, a lot of pipe guys would paddle in just to watch him go, because they were going, hang on a minute, Andy's back in town. Let's go and see what he has to do, because he would have been paddling out there with just froth coming out everywhere.
Definitely
Passion.
miss him. Miss his passion, both in and out of the water. And if you ever had a chance to know him or spend any time with him, you know that when he saw you, he was as fired up about what was going on in your life as could be. He wasn't talking about himself ever. He took the time out for whoever it was, a little kid on the beach. You know, it didn't matter your stature or status. That's how fired up he was. And we will always remember and appreciate his legacy. 4 minutes to go here in this quarterfinals Heat 1 that has literally felt like a new game in the way the waves have really started to march in here at Pipeline. Again, one of those big stories of this Volcom Pipe Pro, Marco Giorgi from Uruguay. If you knew about him before, I'd like you to let us know what you knew about him, because I didn't. But he has made such a case that he is someone to be noticed all week long. And of course, Jack Robinson threw a weird warbler. How many waves were in the face of that wave?
That was a really tricky one. Very, very wobbly, and he had second priority with, you know, only 3.5 minutes remaining, and he's only got a tentative grip on second place at the moment. So,
yeah. Well, I think what he's doing is keeping Brucey Irons off that way. But here we have the Heat recap. Marco Giorgi, boys.
yeah, he's just incredible, and it just continues. Every single time he paddles out, we're wondering, you know, like Sal said, is he going to keep going? And every single time, he delivers.
And they have the confidence to continue to draw first blood. And then Bigfoot, Jack Robinson, just casually, calm and collected, flying through these pipeline barrels on his backhand. Back to Big Marco.
Marco Giorgi again, just doing those drops, easy as you like, just making it look like he's been here for the last 50 years. And like you're saying, if someone knows some stuff about him, I know he's on the QS and doing a couple of those events, but Brucey Irons coming in from a late one, 4 minutes to go, just put himself back in the driver's seat with that 7.27, only looking for that 1.53, so game on, boys.
You mentioned that you thought, really great insight, guys, you mentioned that you thought Jack might have taken that wave just to keep Bruce off with that little bit of time left in the heat. Bruce only needing a 1.53 to move past Jack right now, as Jack's sitting on that low score of a 3.5. 2 minutes to go. Dimitri Ouvray with priority, and then Marco Giorgi. So it's really Bruce and Jack down there at the bottom. They're going to have to find a spot.
Well, maybe Jack knows something we don't, because, you know, that's a lot of time to leave on the clock to do a hold-off sort of maneuver like that. And also, Brucey is ahead of him on priority now.
Yeah.
It's a tricky one, man. I mean, they're the decisions you make that can make or break your heat.
It was a really tough one, but they're those ones you cannot leave Bruce give him anything, give him a sniff at anything. And so, you know, I think it could be a smart decision. If I had the crystal ball, I'd tell you exactly what if it was or wasn't, but we don't know. Minute 30 on the clock, second priority. Is he going to get it?
Well, we're going to find out, because there are all sorts of waves that have made their way here from Japan. From that giant purple blob, and they are here right on time. We're getting some action as taking advantage of that priority.
Oh, beautiful backdoor into that one.
Nice one by Dimitri Ouvray, nice and deep. Where are Bruce and Jack? Jack decided to turn and go. I did not see Bruce anywhere. Oh! Jeez. Thor's hammer.
Wow.
Hope he's okay.
Well, I tell you what, doesn't he have a big set of kahunas on him? He just, Bruce didn't want it. He goes, I'm going to go. Let's hope he's all right.
Looked like he put his shoulder into his board. But look at that. Are you kidding me?
Wow. That's strength. That's strength of mind, strength of body, good breakdancing strength even. He did about 4 backspins on the way down into the pit of that one. And meanwhile, though, out in the lineup, a big drop here. Backdoor providing Brucey Irons with something special. Out he comes.
Come on. He did it again.
There goes the crowd. They love what they see.
Again with 20 seconds to go. This guy, for the 3rd time in a row, finds a backdoor gemstone. The first one that he's ridden in the heat.
Oh, you've got to be absolutely excited and ecstatic about Brucey Irons. I tell you what, he channeled the gods just then and didn't it come to him. You know, and he stalled in that barrel as well, boys.
Look at this.
Wow.
Right at 20 seconds.
Oh, man, over the foam. It wasn't a clean one. But is that part of, does he just know that's there? Is he just counting on that when he paddles out and the rest of the heat is just building on other waves?
I think Bruce does. I think he knows. He's got the tap on it. And, I mean, how exciting is that? Talk about clutch moments.
This guy, if you were wondering as to whether or not his commitment was real, that he was not reinvigorated, you know. Bruce Irons is here and he means business. We're waiting for the official score. He only needed a 1.53. To me, it is good as done. Obviously, I can't believe it happened again.
Goosebumps. And I mean, we haven't seen Jack Robinson slide out at the bottom of anything in this whole comp. He's been attuned in a few, but he's made pretty much every bottom turn. So a critical wave there, but the story is Bruce.
Yeah, but hats off to Jack. You know, he didn't have priority in front of Bruce. Tried in vain twice in a row to do something about it, but in the end, like you said, wave gods just shining on him.
Yeah, Brucey Irons, look at him there. It's so cool to see Brucey Irons in this event and just watch the magic happen.
And mind you, that left knee, he's got the brace on it. It's not in the best shape. He's been doing treatment on it, you know, in between heats and just chilling. You can see he's favoring it just a bit, but it seems like nothing is going to stop this dude right now. Marco Giorgi, Bruce Irons. Moving on. 7.4 as you see there for Bruce. Not that there was any question that he was moving on. Oh man, that's just quarterfinal number 1, guys. We got plenty more for you. Here comes Joe Chappelle, Heat 2, Kelly Slater, Chris Ward. Let's do this.
Welcome back to the quarterfinals here at the Volcom Pipe Pro. Quarterfinal number 2 features Kelly Slater, Joanne Duru, Chris Ward, and Tori Meister all fighting for a spot into the semifinals. Kelly leading the charge as the man to beat in every contest around the world. He's got a house right here in Hawaii, and he loves to surf pipeline as good as it gets. That's why he always hangs around to see who's going to be in the draw here for the Volcom Pipe Pro. Joe Chappelle alongside the founder of Volcom, Richard Wolcott. And just like we thought, things were going to get started very quickly in this matchup.
Well, I'll tell you, you know, coming away from that last heat, what an incredible finish. And those guys were out in the water when this was all going down, and it just got to fire them up. And look at here, we got Kelly in the red jersey coming out, and he's been looking and hunting for a wave like that the last 2 days, and I'm sure he's relieved finally to tap into something of some substance.
He's been talking about not having a good heat for his standards. We've been talking about highlighted 10s, 9s. Kelly's been left out of that, not because he hasn't been performing, just the waves sort of shifted his heats. Now he's looking like he's getting in the excellent range.
Yeah, well, you could just see how deep he was on that. Perfect pipe barrel. Comes out, just look at this positioning right here. Just classic Kelly. And, you know, we talk about peaking too early. Well, I kind of like the way Kelly's approaching this. He's had 2 heats where he's just gotten through. I think he's gotten a second and a first. And now you can see he's starting to up his game. He knows it's all on the line with the quarterfinals. And anybody in one of these quarterfinals can win this contest.
What a great matchup on paper, and just still buzzing off the finish from the first quarterfinal. Bruce Irons seems to be like he's in this position with a minute on the clock with pressure on his back to perform, and he's turned up at a great result. Another guy who's been deadly out here is Chris Ward. Wardo just getting clipped looking backdoor in that way.
Well, yeah, that's one of the first waves I've seen Chris not make. It looked like he got sucked up pretty high in it, and then it just kind of caught him and took him over the falls. But, you know, he'll shake it off and get back out. But that's something we haven't seen with Chris in these last couple of heats. He'd get a really good wave off the bat and make it. So we'll see how that plays in with Chris's rest of his heat strategy.
A solid pipe wave for Juan Duru. He comes flying out.
And he's not done.
Packs the inside corner, a double barrel with a heavy opening tube opportunity for the surfer from France. A classic quarterfinal matchup with surfers from all around the world. Kelly from Cocoa Beach, Florida, but really feels like he's a local on every lineup. Duru has been part of the Volcom family for a long time. He's come close to qualifying, but now he's showing off how solid he is at pipe.
Oh, yeah. Well, looking here, who do we got on this one? Looks like a closeout.
Tori Meister, real quick, just checking out that heavy closeout section. You can kind of count on Tori, always looking back door. But sometimes he does it the hard way. Gets a lot of wipeouts along the way.
Well, I really like this wave as Juan. He took off super deep, you know, rode that wave perfectly. And look, he has, you know, he's seeing something we didn't on screen. You know, that another little section on this wave, made the most of it. Look at this shot right here. Just perfectly situated. And, you know, he's had a great run in this contest. He's gotten some great waves yesterday and this morning, you know, and he's having probably one of his best runs at the Pipe Pro. He's in the quarters. He's going to put a big score on the board. This is what we call in the zone.
That's right. You love being in that zone when you're just, everything is coming together. The waves are coming your way. You start thinking about regions where they have a surfer that's kind of like their next hope to qualify, where Duer's kind of held that for a long time to represent France. We're waiting for him to get that breakthrough season to join the top 34. We love comeback stories. We love guys getting buzzer beaters to move on to the next one. Legendary pipe surfer Bruce Irons did that in the last heat, and he's with Tina Dixon.
Yeah, and we've seen that before from Bruce Irons. And Bruce, what's the pressure like in those final moments? Because you seem to find the waves.
Yeah, you know, I don't know what's going on, but I don't know. Better late than never, you know. I don't know. I tried to get on a roll early, but it just wasn't working, and it's just going with the flow.
And you're finding those waves, though, but this year you seem to have that motivation, like you're moving on into the semifinals. Where is the motivation coming from?
Within me, you know, I've found my motivation again, you know, so yeah, you know, I'm my worst enemy. I can be my best friend. I can be all of it, you know, but yeah, I'm all psyched on surfing, and because I want to be, and it feels good.
Well, you're having some great heats, and best of luck moving on to the semis, guys.
Thanks, Tina. Bruce Irons sharing with us, you know, that competitive moment in his life, just finding surfing again for him at this part of his career. And you can see how quickly all this positive energy is heading his way. He's got new stickers on his board. He's getting the best barrels of the contest. He's into a semi-final heat coming up later on finals day of the Volcom Pipe Pro.
Yeah, I'm proud of him. You know, he's got good rhythm. And, you know, granted how he said, hey, I'm not finding those waves early in the heat. It's always at the end. But it seems to be working for him. You know, he's found himself in the semis, and he worked hard to get there. You know, I'm proud of Bruce. I'd like to see him in the final, and, you know, go for a win today.
That would be a special day. Bruce still has a couple of heats to go till we get there. As we look at the numbers, one of Kelly's best rides, during this event just came through a 9.33. You saw Joan Duro, the goofy foot in that bomb at pipe, 2 barrels, an 8.8. Wardo fell on his backdoor opportunity, 1.33. Meister loves pulling into everything. Closeouts, sometimes he'll pull off the impossible. Turns in a 2.43, 107. So Kelly leading the charge. See Meister on screen. Been competing for a long time at this event. I'll watch Kelly take off.
Well, you can see a little bit of inside wave here. Kelly used his priority on this, and what a great ride. And you can see Kelly's building on that 9.33. He's going to get another good score, and he's putting himself in a good spot with over 16 minutes left.
It's fun just watching Kelly's approach year after year. A pretty stylish way to rip that cutty back into the pocket. His stance was close together. I like watching his footwork too at times, just when he's trying to make a tube at the critical part of the wave. Let's check this out.
Well, it's a good inside wave. He had the priority, and you know, he's just getting his momentum going, because you know, he said he's been frustrated with his last couple of heats in terms of his performance, and you can see here that it seems like it's all clicking in. God, he rode so high in that barrel, just kind of weaving in there, and what great positioning. That is not easy to do.
You saw just the inside vision of that. We love having Larry Haynes with the water cam looking into the tube, because you can see where the foam ball is. He's riding right on top of it, showing that he was as deep as he could have gotten on that wave. Already backing up the 9.33 quickly. And that's what Bruce was talking about. For a competitor, all-time confidence comes your way. You're almost comboing the whole field with still 15 minutes to go. For us watching, what Bruce has been doing in the final minute is rewarding as a fan on the beach.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
For a competitor, they'd love to shut things out in the first 5 minutes.
Well, I think for Kelly, you know, he's in his approach to this, he's been wanting to turn on in a heat, and I think him looking at this quarterfinal going, hey, I got to do this now. Let me get on a roll. And you can look at these two scores, a 9.33 and 8.0. This is what we're used to seeing for Kelly, and so he's back in, you know, the driver's seat, and so far so good for him.
So we're definitely well and truly into the money rounds here at the Volcom Pipe Pro quarterfinals. You're taking some cash out of the $100,000 prize purse on hand. Tori Meister almost about to get to the $100,000 career prize money as he's getting more points underway, running after an exit at backdoor, and he doesn't mind that feeling, almost making another impossible backdoor wave.
Yeah, he seems like he's focusing on that right now, and unfortunately this one kind of ran away from him. But he's still got plenty of time left, so he'll just shake it off and get back out there, and you know, hopefully he gets one that opens up for him. That's
right. So Tori Meister working his way back to the lineup now at 13:55 to go. And once again, every day that we run here at the Volcom Pipe Pro, this being finals day, we still are going to be across the street at the farm to have another great movie night. Got to relive all the great classics like Magnaplasm the other day. Tonight, it's going to be the latest release, Psychic Migrations. It's one of my personal favorite movies I've ever seen. One of my favorite segments, seeing Ryan Birch just tear apart that left in Chile was such a treat. So if you're local here in Hawaii, join us tonight right after the contest. Yeah, that's a special movie. Director Ryan Thomas, he did a great job. The team did a great job. I love the art direction and just the feel of the film. You know, it's got the classic DNA of our film division, Vico Productions. And if you haven't seen it, you know, take some time. If you're in the area, go check it out. It'd be a great way to see the movie on the grass. And like you were saying, you know, Ryan Birch, what a performance he put in that movie. He's getting a lot of coverage right now in the industry and in all the media publications, so congratulations to him. Not only a great surfer, but he's a great shaper too, so come check out the movie. Amazing shaper, Ryan Birch out of San Diego. And it's such a cool act, and it kind of shows the depth of another great team at Volcom. You have guys that are hands-on in the shaping room making asymmetrical surfboards. Will, have you tried any of those yet? I haven't. I've asked Ryan if I could get a board or have him shape me one, but he's pretty mysterious on shaping for other people. Like, you know, he just shapes for himself, he shapes for some of his friends, but he's not really, you know, taking a lot of orders and selling a lot of boards yet. But, you know, you never know. Maybe at some point, you know, he'll be taking some more orders. I can get one in there and get a board from him. It's funny with board dimensions, you know, like Kelly with what he's doing with his own Kelly Slater Designs. You try to find his boards in the competitors area, and there's no dimensions written on them. There's not even a shaper's signature at times. I saw Trav Lee, who's working with them now on their new project. And I was just, hey, quick update on dimensions. He's like, yeah, similar, 6'6", and yeah, we'll go from there. So they still are keeping some of those numbers kind of close to their hand there.
Well, Kelly likes that. You know, he's still super competitive, and he likes to keep people guessing. And you know, he kind of just plays with you in a friendly way, and you know, that's Kelly. And yeah, I'm stoked for him. He's onto some new projects, and can't wait to see what it, you know, kind of how it all evolves.
That's right. Well, we talked about Tori getting into the $100,000 career prize money mark. Kelly Slater, he has $3,727,310.52 career prize money. We're talking about domination over a few decades here. He's going to be turning 44 years of age in a few days. February 11th is his birthday. Shares that birthday with Giorgi Smith, but he hasn't shown any signs of slowing down. There's a few years ago where he started, you know, kind of saying, I'm not sure what my intentions are this year on tour, but he hasn't been saying that lately. Talking about happy moments in surfing, and especially for this community, seeing Kai Garcia here on hand is such a treat. If you guys didn't notice or take note to all the Instagrams going out, Kai suffered a heart attack the other day. He was able to survive, and now he's back with a big smile on his face, and he is part of the furniture here at Pipeline, especially with Volcom.
Yeah, that's this is his first day out. To see him here again, I gave him a big hug, and just stoked he's here. So stoked, Kai.
Locking in another wave for Joan Duro at Pipeline. This wave unloads and a layback hook off the top, but he can't hang on.
Yeah, you know, that was a good wave for Joan right now. You know, with still 10 minutes left. I think he had priority on that. He used the priority, made the most of it. It's going to be a good backup score, and you know, smart surfing, especially in a heat with, you know, some gnarly names in it.
Joan Duro is in such a good place with his momentum here at Pipe. We talked about his girlfriend Maud Lacar with her momentum on the qualifying series. 2 straight wins on the QS, with a win at Huntington and then a win in Israel, which is really cool to see. A first stop there, with now anticipation of quarterfinal number 3. John Florence standing at the water's edge. How many times has he done this right here, Willie?
He's done it a lot of times, and it doesn't get old. You know, here's another fresh heat he's going into, and he's psyching up. He just saw this wave. You know, what a great wave for Joan. Another just wedging, spitting pipe wave. He's having a blast right now, and he's in the groove. He's feeling it, and so, you know, hopefully he can hold on, and we can see put a close to almost a 3.93 back on the scoreboard, puts him in second place. But you know, this heat's not over, so he's still got work to do.
Plenty of time to go, as you can check out the very cool Volcom Pipe Pro gear for 2016. If you're here locally, you can come check it out behind the scenes, or go to Tropical Rush. All proceeds of that will be benefiting the Live Like Scion Foundation, but also it becomes kind of a collector's item. We've had some people on hand that have worked every single Volcom Pipe Pro, and you'll see the throwback gear from 2013. It immediately takes you back to what happened that season.
Well, it's funny you say that, because I now have got, you know, I've collected the merch every year, and I love my Pipe Pro merch, and especially this year, I got every single piece I could, because I know how special it is down line, and it brings back good memories, and people ask you about it. Oh, wow, I like that. What's that? That's cool. So, no, it's fun to have a little piece of history, and particularly, you know, this year, the waves have just been unbelievable. So, a very memorable event. If you haven't gotten any merch and you're in town, you can run by Tropical Rush. You can get it here at the beach park, or you can get it online too, or at one of our accounts around the islands.
There's also actually a signature trunk for this special event for the Volcom Pipe Pro. It has all the great features like the Mod Tech design that meet the demands for all the serious surfers. With now 7:30 to go, I think this is a great time for a public service announcement.
Aloha from Tropical Rush. Come over for your official Volcom Pipe Pro gear. We got shirts, hats, shorts, whatever you need, bro. All right. Tropical Rush, next to historic Rainbow Bridge in Haleiwa. Aloha. Hawaiian. Chee-hoo. Wow.
Well, there you have it. Yeah, you can see all the you can see the logo there. That's a new logo, updated from last year, and we've got, you know, the hats, the t-shirts, the board shorts. We got sweats, we got long sleeve tees. So, you know, plenty of great gear, and just really stoked how the whole merch package came out this year. It's probably the best package we've had.
When it's going to be connected to one of the best days in pipe history that we got to celebrate yesterday. Big part of the story at Pipe yesterday was Dusty Payne surviving in one of the later heats. Gets a big high five from Kimo downstairs. Kimo is another guy you see each and every year, making sure everybody's safe on the beach and upstairs. He represents that true Hawaiian spirit and the west side of Wakaha. I think it's good luck to say hi to Kimo before your matchup.
Oh, absolutely. That's a good hand to shake.
Oh, yeah.
Right? Yeah. Yeah, but seeing Dusty, you know, it's a different Dusty this trip coming over, and he's in you know, his body physically, he's in a much better place. You know, he was riddled with some injuries over the years, and I don't know, there's a new Dusty in town, and we've seen it in the last couple of heats, and hopefully he can keep that going.
Locking in on the backhand at Pipeline is Tori Meister. Tried to sneak out of a closeout, and he didn't have time.
I think that was the Dragon's brother right there. Just took him out. Dangerous place to fall, but hopefully he's okay. And yeah, you don't want that kind of lip hitting you.
We'll check it out one more time. Did he have any chance here, Willie?
Well, you know, maybe. Let's see if he was going to be able to come out. Oh, yeah, he's a little bit late on that one, and probably not much chance.
Just trying to sneak out. Ran into Tori's dad recently. He lives out here on Oahu. Originally, Tori growing up on the Big Island. Oh, there he is right there hanging out behind the scenes. A long-time surfer and really proud of what Tori's done around the world. But it's kind of fun to see him tag to that whole Big Island experience, because we talk about Maui a lot, Kauai a lot with world titles. We talk about Oahu being the proving grounds, and then you think about the Big Island community, which is a really huge part of the whole connection here. Guys like Dorian, who's good friends with this man, Kelly Slater, here in quarterfinal number 2 in the electric heat recap. Kelly started into the 9s on his opening strike.
Yeah, he certainly did. He started off early, and then right behind him, you had Joan on this one. This was kind of that double barrel where he got a big old pit, and he didn't stop, and he wanted to get a little bit more, and it gave it to him.
Making it at the end. The Euro Force on fire. Kelly again. 2 straight scores in the X1 range, a 9.33 and an 8.0 back-to-back. Timeless Kelly. Crazy to see someone into their 40s doing their best pipe surfing to date, as he's still setting the mark each and every year. And it looks like he's a little bit closer to a semifinal berth.
He's working hard for it, and yeah, he's got 2 excellent scores he's put on the board. Definitely he's found his groove, and you can see here we've got a replay that during that recap looks like Chris Ward, using his priority, going to put a good score on the board.
Wardo, nice easy entry. I love how mobile he gets on his backhand as well. High line pump, gets the exit. Chris Ward loves to finish off strong in these matchups, especially with Kelly, where he's been inspired in the past. Chris Ward brought up how many times he seems to get in matchups with Kelly over the years. One of Wardo's best ever results was that Pipe Masters final. The water was really brown and murky that year. It was a lot of backdoor, and he finished runner-up to Slater that season. Here comes Tori again.
Yeah, just kind of a quick in and out. We got a big set coming in right now, and I think for Chris, with a little over 3 minutes left, he's going to put a decent score on the board, but he's got to get back out there, and he's going to be watching these guys like Jawan getting another barrel. Oh, just gets axed by the lip, so that's not going to go into one of his top scores. Hopefully he doesn't take another wave on the head. We've got this thing rolling in out the back, second reefer, and we were told that it was going to start to pick up in the afternoon, and so we're seeing some of those sets right now, but not looking like there's a lot to offer for the guys outside of just getting pounded right here.
What a moment for Duru. He knows it's coming. It's the anticipation of realizing you're going to wear a lot of water on the head and being patient and calm during that transition out the back again. You can see the backyards are always full. This is a big part of the story here at Pipe. Whenever there's a big event on and we know that the swell is spiking, everyone's on their feet. They usually run in to check out the replays on Oceanic Cable in the house, and they run back down here. All these fans on the beach can also download the Volcom Pipe Pro app to check out the highlights and latest as we watch this one live, Willie.
Oh, Kelly in a beautiful wave right here. He's got to come up and around the lip, comes into the pocket. He had a little bit of some bump on that wave, so probably not the wave he was looking for. Certainly looked like it was a butte. He used his priority, and now he's got 2 minutes left, and he's coming in with those 2 big scores.
Smart move for Kelly to save himself for the semifinals. It was a huge bomb drop. I was almost anticipating him pulling up and in, sending that one straight out to the flats and trying to come around with a deep bottom turn to back it. Let's check this out.
Well, you can see there's some rib coming up the face. You can see coming around the bottom. Look at a couple of bumps right here. See all those ribs, and there's that, you know, whatever finesse that he's got to stay on his board, and kind of came up into the pocket, but there wasn't much left for him, so he's out of there.
And looked real loose on that bottom turn. Total control now on the takeoff for Chris Ward, slowing down, packing a huge barrel of pipeline.
Oh,
and
that was, wow, that was the wave that Chris needed. Unfortunately, it ate him up in the end. I thought he was going to come out of that.
That was maybe the most spit. It was so ferocious coming out of the depths of that barrel of pipe. And I don't know who would have stood a chance against that thing.
Wow, I can't wait to see the replay on it. It looked like a beauty. He snuck that under the other guys. Let's watch this here. Wow, just hard off the bottom, really low to his board, and just got blown, probably just got blown off his board. What happened to him?
Let's take a look inside. He couldn't get any more critical. Slamming on the brakes, and he actually gets himself to go up and in, and then everything inside pipeline unloads.
Yeah, you know what happened was he slammed on the brakes so hard that he got sucked up back up the face. He had no momentum to go forward. And that's what pipeline does. Even though you want to stall, you got to keep some momentum to keep you moving forward, or she'll eat you up like she did right here with Chris.
Such a crazy moment watching those waves spit that hard. Remember Kieran Perro in his last Pipe Masters ended up dislocating his shoulder, and he came in and he was almost thinking maybe a big part of that was how strong the force of the spit was that put him in such an awkward position. Comes out like a cannon. You can see Wardo recovering from that moment. It was an important ride for him. He needed a 9.5 there to move on to the semifinals.
Well, I think, he wanted to, he knew how important that wave was, and he tried to maximize that score and really tried to stuff himself into that pit. And, I think he just put on the brakes a little too much, and it passed him by.
Well, Wardo's been a part of our highlight reel this entire event, high nines, and we just lose him from the contest as Kelly moves on. Coming up next in the Volcom Pipe Pro, John, Dusty, Ayala, and Mackay here at Pipe.
Style is everything. I'm gonna go straight to work out, straight to the beach to hang out with my friends, straight to a friend's house for dinner. So I gotta be, prepared for anything. Yeah, and the S line is good. The all-purpose style. My name is Ezekiel Lau. This is electric style that performs.
The Volcom Pipe Pro is proudly brought to you by FlexFit Electric, the Turtle Bay, Future Fins, Waterman Sunscreen, Speedquip, Bonsai Bowls, Mizu, and a ton more. Thanks so much for the support for an all-time year in 2016. We're into February, and it's going to be one we'll never forget here on Finals Day with a pumping lineup for quarterfinal number 3. John Florence, Dusty Payne, Ayala Stewart, and Kai McNamara out in the lineup for Woolley. We already had Ayala Stewart get underway.
Well, Ayala, he's getting busy right off the bat. This was a big set, rolling off the second reef, and Ayala he plugs right into it. And look at how big this wave is.
Big stretched out bottom turn right under the hood. Nice bit, just gently pushing him out the back, and he'll start off with a keeper. We've kind of noticed this with Ayala throughout, especially today. He likes being on the first wave. He doesn't want to wait. It's sometimes a game plan for these guys, but he's actually been able to live it. And we'll see if that one ends up being a keeper at the end.
Well, yeah, and what's difficult about that is no one's got priority when the heat starts. So he's getting these waves underneath everybody else. And, You know, we can't see all the hassling going on, but you know, he's sticking to his plan, and it's working for him.
Well, we just had Kelly Slater turn in a 17.33 combined total. Slater is with Tina Dixon.
Yeah, and Kelly, you said earlier that you hadn't quite found your rhythm, but after that heat, what about now?
Yeah, I feel good. I started out quick. You know, I had the heat with Chris a couple days ago, and he got the good start. I mean, I got the first wave, but I fell, and then he got the good start right behind me. But that one, I just didn't want to. I didn't want to have to be left scrambling late in the heat, so I figured that first exchange was going to be important. Joanne was actually deeper than me, but he's a little outside off of it, and Chris kind of just went a little wide. He probably went to the spot that normally looks right, and I just said I got to be deeper than him. And so I got down and got a good pump off, and you know, got a good barrel to start.
And you're one of 3 surfers to have ever won this event. For you to come back to the Volcom Pipe Pro, I mean, you've won so many things in your career. What does it mean?
Well, for us, it's really just fun. It's, you know, we're not, me and John are trying to requalify. You know, Jamie, this is a big event. You know, he makes his mark out here all year long, and this is one of the 3 or 4 events that he does, and you know, he wants to win this thing really bad. So, you know, I think it would just be awesome to be able to get in the final with John and Jamie, so we'll see what happens. Yeah.
Well, right now that semifinal, the first one is looking stacked. Guys, we'll send it back to you.
Thanks a lot, Tina. Kelly Slater moving on into the semifinals. I think Kelly's fielded a lot of questions throughout his career on where his motivation is. Once you win everything in the books, you wonder what is really pushing him, and I really enjoy his response these days. His dream was to get a final at the Pipe Masters with John Florence. He was able to get that in 2013, and he beat John that season. But now he still wants to be pushing the younger guys at Pipe, and his dream and his goal for this season is to end up in a final with a 4-time champ.
Yeah, you know, Kelly, he's still got that competitive fire in him, and you know, as long as his body's working and he's healthy, you know, he's thriving off this. And you can see today he looks like he's in great form. He just had a great heat. He's in the semis, and he wants his eyes on that final. I know that. And, at the end of the day, if he gets in that final, he wants to win that final.
Big time. A lot to tell before we get there. Quarter 4 coming up next. We'll go right into the semifinals. We'll probably have just a short break before the final, before we kick things off and crown our champions. $16,000 for the winner, 3,000 points, the biggest QS of the season so far. But also we'll be able to see which Hawaiians will be invited into the Pipe Invitational. Dusty Payne, since he's off the championship tour now, wouldn't mind going to upset the world title race come to the end of the season.
No, you know, Dusty, he's still young in his career, and you know, all these events and, you know, happenings that he's going through right now are important to him, and I think first and foremost, he wants to focus on this heat. He wants to get the final.
Would be great to see Payne coming from a great surfing family. He's got a brother, a sister, growing up on Maui. Everyone was right close to the shore. He always had those crazy finals as an amateur, and was always picked to be the next big thing. And he was one surfer that was able to kind of balance both, like qualifying for the tour, having a few solid years, and he got to be the sparring partner with Andy Irons for a few seasons. Those are memories that are really close to his heart.
Yeah, you know, sometimes you forget all those kind of different chapters he's already had in his life, but you know, he's had a lot of experience. He's got a lot of experience under his belt, and I think now he's in a really good spot to kind of feed off that experience and channel that energy that he's feeling right now. And I see, you know, some good years ahead for him.
Remember Andy saying when Dusty was on tour, he's like, Dusty's like my new Corey Lopez. And Corey for Andy was an all-time sparring partner, and then Payne played that role. And talk about learning a lot along the way. Kai McNamara is in the water wearing the black jersey. You always hear that word Makai towards the ocean. Instead of hearing north, south, east, west, you hear people say, oh, it's on the Makai side or the Mauka side, which means mountain. So McNamara had this ocean running in his veins. We always talk about the McNamara name from his dad to his Uncle Garrett. That is really redefined the big wave movement over there in Portugal.
Yep, well, he's part of the next generation, and he's doing a great job at it so far. And it looks like Dusty here just got over the ledge, and that wave kind of ate him up and closed out. So not the wave he was really looking for, but he's got plenty of time, so he'll get back out. See what we got here. Looks like John on a little backdoor wedge. What a stall. Classic John. Dusty's going, wait a minute, I wanted that one.
John kicks out right in front of Dusty Payne as Payne got the best view in the house. Florence has been turning in multiple 9s, and it almost feels like he's in his own league of its own. We talked yesterday when he was getting 9s on that epic day of competition that he has his own scale. He redefines how to ride the tube and pipe
Well,
back
just look how hard he was standing on his tail right there to slow himself down and to stay in that barrel. And I think for John, you know, this contest has kind of an extra special meaning also with Jamie too, is because it's their backyard. You know, if there's any event you want to win, it's the event that's in your backyard that you've been watching, that you grew up here, and you know you want to perform. You want to be the best guy out here.
Locking in nice and deep, Mackay McNamara. Looks like he's got a perfect opening to style his way out of the tube. A big number will be heading Mackay's way at the 16.5-minute mark.
Well, that was a great wave for him. I mean, he surfed it perfectly. You can see how high he stayed. It's kind of that wave got real almondy, and you see it on the replay right here. Look at way behind the lip, gets back into it, and then stays high and just sneaks out. He's stoked. You can see it with body language right there.
Shot out like a cannon. When we get the drone replay from the sky, you can see how clear the water is at Pipe. You don't always get it this perfect. Mackay's going to remember this vision for a long time.
Oh, yeah. I mean, he kept it really high because he knew you could see it was just about to pinch, had a little almond barrel on the top, and he popped out. And, you know, he's feeling it now. That's what he needed. He's got some tough competition in this heat, but he's right in the game.
John Florence, a 6.27 start. Dusty Payne had the 0.67 before. Ayala Stewart's kicked things off with a 3.5. And now McNamara will be scored with 15:30 to go. You see these guys all over the place here on the North Shore, not just surfing pipe. They love just freestyling a bit at Rocky Point. You see McNamara out there all the time. But the limits are getting broken now on what's to be expected in bigger waves. Now you get the Jamie O'Briens and Mason Hose that have been finaling. You see so many young Hawaiians that are putting their name on the list as contenders for next season.
Well, there's a big shift happening. You know, all these young kids that have been growing up on the North Shore and around the Hawaiian Islands, you know, they're getting older, they're getting stronger, and we're seeing it right now. We're seeing Ayala in here, we're seeing Mackay in here. So, you know, it wasn't too long ago where they were just the Groms in the water, and now they're turning in to some of the men.
Goes by so quickly. Florence with a 6.27. He was the guy that was basically born into the industry. We remember those early cover shots of John when he was about 5 and 6 years of age. He was destined for this moment.
Well, it's, you know, it's in his blood, and if you grow up, you're looking at this every day, you're in the water, little days, you paddle out the bigger days, you know, eventually you're going to rise to the top, and that's what John, you know, has done. You can see John right here. What a nice wave. He's coming out. Oh! Gosh, everybody's doing this little disappearing act.
It's the kind of the new thing. Go down to prone and pick yourself back up to get the completion. Florence had the 6.27 right before this wave, and now we get to see how the judges will react. He went down, was able to get back up. Did he have control at the exit? We'll find out. Here's Ayala.
Again, Ayala, he loves these types of waves right here. Nice barrel, didn't get super deep, but beautiful looking wave. He'll put another score on the board, and he's got plenty of time left to get back out, but he's feeling it. He's just having fun in this heat.
Great to see these goofy floaters charging here at Pipe. There's some swells during certain waiting periods that really favor backdoor, but it's been a lot of both. Pipe and backdoor for a perfect balance of both. Here's John's wave.
Well, here's John's wave, you know, good setup. He gets a good barrel, but it looks like the lip kind of hit him even before he came out. And just more action. We're back to live action here.
Mackay McNamara.
He gets another good wave. So starting to turn on right now.
It's really pulsing right on schedule. It's a 1:43 local time. They're predicting 1:30 to 2. We'd see the spike. They're getting so good at calling these swells.
No, it's crazy. Well, they've got, you know, they've got their secret guys that have these secret buoys out there. Hey, this is my guy that I talked to. So they're able to really forecast, you know, down to the hour of when the swell will be picking up. And, you know, here we are, close to 2 o'clock. Looks like we're getting a pulse, and we've got, you know, winds are cooperating with us, so should be a great finish this afternoon. And look at Ayala's wave. This is a wave you dream of.
I love Ayala Stewart's approach, representing Hawaii. Nice low center of gravity with that stance, and then Mackay This one he wanted to get deep. He just let go of the rail and just really enjoyed the ride. And then back to John Florence.
Yeah, is this the John where it kind of clipped him inside the tube and he comes out on his belly? You gotta love that. He's probably laughing right here, going, "What are the judges gonna give me?"
As we get to see this footage, pilot Jonas Shaw flying the drone, and you can see it shut him down to the low road, but he was still right on top of his board.
Yeah, so this angle should show us what happened here. So he's pretty high, coming into the lip. Oh, it looks like he got sucked up, and then he got pushed down on his belly. So nice recovery from John. And not sure, do we have any scores yet from the judges?
Just about. We have the 2.67 for Ayala Stewart. Opening ride for Mackay McNamara at 8.5. Payne had the 0.67 early, so Mackay McNamara in a really great position at the moment. We know the Volcom Pipe Pro is doing great things for the local community each and every year. We have Anthony Poponi from the Boys and Girls Club standing by now with Jason Shibata.
The great thing about the Volcom Pipe Pro is our partnership that we've collaborated with the Boys and Girls Club of Hawaii. Anthony, could you tell us some of the things that you folks are doing for the community?
Sure, we focus on giving the kids a really broad opportunity to explore a lot of things in life, and this partnership with Volcom is just an extension of giving them a chance to get out and explore the water in a really safe and fun way. And who knows, maybe one of them one day will be out here surfing this and winning that championship.
Well, we appreciate all the things that your organization is doing, and we look forward to the check presentation at the end of the event. And if you want to participate, the Volcom Hawaii merchandise specifically sold here in Hawaii and online, a portion of those proceeds go to benefit the Boys and Girls Club. So thank you very much for all that you do.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you.
Thank you, Jason Shibata and Anthony Poponi from the Boys and Girls Club. Love checking out what they're doing. You can find out more about their program, just www.bgch.com. You can see all the attention of the pipe house behind Anthony just was electric because a couple of heavy waves just rolled through.
Wow, that wave right there, I'm not sure who it was who pulled back, but I think if they would have gone, they would have gotten pitched on just a beast right there. And man, Pipeline is still delivering, and I don't see any slowing down as we get closer to the semis and final.
That's right. Coming up next, Jamie O'Brien, Soli Bailey, Mason Ho, Tommy Whitaker will be fighting for a spot into the semifinals. Last heat was won by Kelly Slater and Joanne Duru to kick off this final series. Mackay out front of this one. Florence now second. That last wave at 2.83. So obviously marked as an incomplete exit on the last exchange.
But they gave him something. So you know, he'll get back out there, and look at this. Wow, he's coming out of this.
This was
look, it just kind of clamped at the end. So Mackay just charging right now.
Mackay McNamara, he's got some brothers that are charging too. I saw an amazing shot of Landon McNamara last night. Mike Latronic was out there in the water on a soft top, and he shot this crazy image of Landon, and it was such a unique perspective. You start seeing what's on the line when pipe's really good. For the surfers, they're scoring the best barrels of their life, and to have it run in this waiting period. But then also photographers are saying they might have had their best photo they've ever taken in history. For longtime North Shore residents, that's a huge statement to the conditions, with another pipe exit right out front. Dusty Payne.
Wow.
Full wrap with the rebound punch in the inside corner. That's his best wave so far.
Well, we've been, Dusty's been waiting for that wave. We've been waiting to see him get one of those, and that's going to be a big score. He waited a long time for that, and good to see Dusty get back in this heat.
Payne trains for these moments. He's a big fan of football, a New England Patriots fan. He has jerseys. He's throwing a football behind the scenes in between heats. Back at the Fiji Pro last season, he was throwing bullets at people. He's got such a cannon of an arm. Let's see this last two.
Wow, this was an excellent wave. Great positioning for him. He took off deep, and the judges they're going to like that wave.
Also, Ayala Stewart, classic pipe style and stance, as he is having a blast. He's got a big smile. Just keeps giving us flashbacks of Button's personality with being so happy-go-lucky. He's so humble in his post-heat interviews, and he talks about his life coming from humble beginnings, living in a small apartment by the Alawai, and being able to get the opportunity to move to the North Shore. And he keeps using that word. He feels like he has so many amazing opportunities to get completely barreled at pipe every day.
Well, I mean, you take a step back here. He's in the quarterfinals with some of the best surfers in the world, at big firing pipelines. So hats off to him. you know, he'll get home tonight. No matter what happens, he's going to pinch himself and go, that's one of the best, you know, contests I've ever been in.
And when you have a heat with John, it's like you remember the heats. If anyone finishes on top of Florence, he's got the target on his back. He's the one to beat. So this is their opportunity that they kind of have to seize. You know, competitively, you think, oh, are you worried about Florence? They can take it as an opportunity to put their name on the map. With now 7 minutes to go, Dusty locks in at 8.57.
Well, this is, you know, this kind of changes the game right here. I mean, you can look at the scores. You know, Mackay's got an 8.5, Dusty's got an 8.57, John's got a 6.27. We got 7 minutes left. John's holding on to priority. I mean, it's really anybody's game right now.
Time for the electric heat recap style that performs. Florence been loving the view from a blue moon. That back door flying through the pit, kicking off with a 6.27. Mackay McNamara's first wave, though, came in at the 8.5.
Well, that was very well served, and he just kind of came out right at the end of that little just kind of pinch. And, you know, he got scored well for that. And, you know, here comes John, and this is the one, I think, where he fell on his stomach here, and the judges really didn't give him a big score because it wasn't a true make. And so John's looking for a second wave. And then you got that wave from Dusty coming up where we're still waiting for that. Oh, we did get that score. That was the 8.57.
As Mackay McNamara keeps on proving himself here at Pipe. Late takeoffs over the ledge, up and in, nice and deep. And Mackay is our heat leader, 8.5 and a 2.83 with 6 minutes still to go to try to get himself into the semifinals. The swell still on the rise as we look out the back, Willie.
Well, yeah, I mean, we've talked about, you know, this afternoon having a pulse, and you can see that, you know, everything's coming together right now. Looks like it's still good direction for Pipeline coming out of the west-northwest, and plenty of sets on the horizon. It's anybody's game. I mean, it's, you know, to advance right now, even for Ayala, you know, he's sitting on a 3.5 if he gets a big score. So keep our eyes on the screen because we still got a lot of action left here. 5 minutes.
You can see those sets just starting to really show themselves on the outer reefs. During that recap, we did get a split. John went back door.
Let's see what John does here. He's deep. Is he coming out of this? Oh, he just gets axed by the lip. That's gnarly. You can see how his leg was straight right there. That's how you can hurt your knee. So hopefully he's all right. And he'll get right back out. Looks okay.
That's been the one talk with Florence, surfing at a high level, and he surfs a lot. The guy says, you know, he doesn't really spend time in the gym. He's still really young, and he just says he really just surfs all day long, especially when the waves are good, but he's fallen victim to injuries.
Yeah.
He hurt himself in the early part of 2015. It was right after the event in Brazil. He went on a trip with Felipe Toledo for a movie part, and he ended up hurting himself doing an alley-oop. When we got the news that he was going to miss some events, we were like, oh no, another year we're going to be missing Florence. He came back and had some solid results and was never questioned about re-qualifying, but definitely took away his world title hopes.
Well, you know, at this age, you know, these guys are really pushing themselves. I mean, they're on the forefront of surfing. And with the type of surfing they're doing, you know, injuries are bound to happen. And so I think through the process of an injury, you know, you learn about your body, you learn about how to make it stronger and more healthy. And so, you know, hopefully as these guys go through this, they're smarter as they come back. And I think John, you know, he learned a lot through these injuries, as well as like with Dusty and some of these other surfers. And, you know, they're going to take a more calculated approach because it can hamper, you know, what they're doing competitively.
Dusty Payne's been a long time Volcom family member. And the fun part about it is, you know, Volcom signs these guys from around the world, and a lot of times they're family for life. And you can look back at these young years. Every once in a while you look at a classic throwback photo on Instagram. You can follow Volcom at Volcom and see Dusty in his grommet hood over on Maui competing with a lot of these names that we see now today, like Mackay McNamara. It's fun when you can follow the whole Volcom story. You can also follow at Volcom Surf and Volcom Women's. The women's crew doing a great job over there. And you can really feel this family atmosphere. We got to see Gavin Beshin. We got to see Tom Doslin. We've seen Kaimana Henry. And you really start realizing what this whole brand is all about.
There's a lot of history. You know, we're almost in our 25th year of being in business, and yeah, it's always great to look back and look at the history of the surfing program, and it always comes back to Hawaii. And here we are at Pipeline, our 7th year for the event. You can see on your screen, you know, the reinforced swell has arrived, And some of these guys are taking it on the head. And you can see John right here. He's trying to get around this big old foam ball. And, you know, this is important right now because there's just over 2 minutes left. And you can see on the screen, you know, Dusty's sitting in second place. John's in third, Ayala's in fourth. And, you know, it's anybody's game. Mackay's holding on to priority. So, you know, he wants to protect that, make sure he gets through this heat. So it's going to come down to the last couple of minutes here. Is it going to stay the same, or is there going to be a change?
Well, Willie, it seems like this is a wave that doesn't need to be reinforced. And then you put another swell in the water coming into the finals, and it makes it that much more dangerous, too. We've seen Florence get clipped by the lip a few times. He's taken a few wipeouts along the way. Sometimes when you see the intervals increasing on that reinforcing swell, it can overtake the original swell, and you see some crazy double ups.
Yeah, and we don't want, you know, that's one thing. You don't want, you know, these two swells to kind of come in and mix up one another and then kind of screw up the lineup, put some bump in it. You know, it makes it harder for the competitors to get the waves that they're looking for. But, you know, I think we've been pretty lucky today. And, you know, we've only got a few heats left after this. We're going to have, what do we have, another quarterfinal, we get the semis and then the final. So I think we're in good shape. But before we go anywhere, my eyes are glued to this. We have 1 minute left, and what is going to happen? We have seen so many changes in these last 60 seconds, and it could happen again. You know, Dusty's fighting for that second place. John wants to take over that second place, so we'll see what happens. And you can't count out Ayala Stewart. If he gets a bomb, he could move into second place.
Well, now we have a taker here. It's Dusty Payne trying to protect the second spot, sliding through the barrel and pipeline, mainly just trying to get this wave away from John Florence. Payne moved to second with his 8.57. Florence still chasing a 2.98. Four-time champ under pressure as he takes off and goes down.
That was late. Well, very smart for Dusty. You know, he's trying to better that 0.67, but he left John out the back. There was an opportunity for John, and it just looks like the bottom just dropped out of him, and he just took a ride to the reef on that one.
And a tough time for Florence, the most dominant surfer in Volcom Pipe Pro history. In trouble in this quarterfinal. He had a near exit at backdoor where he got clipped. Almost made a wave at pipe and fell to his stomach on the completion. And that might be the major difference. Dusty Payne keeping his head down, making a smart move with priority. Eliminates defending champion John Florence and Ayala Stewart from the draw. Mackay McNamara takes top honors courtesy of that quick start with that 8.5 on that opening ride.
Yeah, Mackay's performance, that was impressive. He had some gnarly guys in this heat. He held on to that lead the whole heat. Congratulations to him, and you could see the look on John's face. He's disappointed.
Coming up next, another big matchup in the quarterfinals. We're bringing Sal Masekela and Dave Wassel for the call right after this.
Join us all year long as we witness top athletes compete in the most progressive sporting events on the planet. Wow! Red Bull Signature Series, the evolution of sports.
Since 2010, Volcom has donated almost $100,000 to the Boys and Girls Club. When you purchase items from Volcom's Hawaii branded clothing line, a portion of those sales go directly to the Boys and Girls Club.
Welcome back to the Volcom Pipe Pro. Sal Masekela, Dave Wassel, and the hits just don't stop. From quarterfinals, heat 1 to 4, it has been nonstop. Here we go, Jamie O'Brien, Soli Bailey from Australia, Mason Ho from Hawaii, and Tommy Whitaker. So many interesting stories as we wind down here into the closing heats of the Volcom Pipe Pro. Jamie O'Brien, of course, this is his front yard. He's hungry, and you know he just smells opportunity since his neighbor down the road, John Florence, just got knocked out by the Maui boy. And then Tommy Whitaker, a guy who spent many years, about a decade, I think, on the tour. switches over into being a surf coach. That's been his profession the last couple of years. And Tommy Whitaker's showing that he's still got the stuff. Wassel?
He's got tons of flair, and he's out here showing Soy Bailey how to do it, right? In their last matchup a couple of heats ago, he did best Soy Bailey, who can't be not talked about enough. He is the hottest thing out of Australia since sliced bread.
And of course, the happy camper on land or in the water with all of the style to boot. Mason Ho out there on his trusty big board. He says he likes to get in early and just find the groove, and he has been weaving that thing, making it look like a fish through his heats. You literally have 4 different styles and approaches, and just as Kevin Wallace told us earlier from Surfline, right around 1, 2 o'clock, we would start to see this reinforcement, this backup swell we've been talking about the last couple of days. It is 5 minutes before 2 here in Hawaii, and as you can see, the North Shore is fully realizing itself. You mentioned earlier Soy Bailey from Australia. This kid is another one of those names that this contest gives an opportunity for you to make a name for yourself against the big boys.
It is so impressive to see people rise to the challenge of pipeline. Yes, Soy Bailey doing it right now. Never get to see him surf enough. Giorgi, the same thing.
Yeah.
Guys that generally don't get a pick of a set out of pipeline are doing that and rising to the challenge. Speaking of which,
here comes Jamie O'Brien in his last heat. He did not draw early blood, but look at him weaving through this inside section. Oh my gosh!
And backing it up with exclamation points. Never was he that good in English class, but do the math, people. The guy's on fire.
He had to manufacture scores in his towards the end in his last 2 heats, and he said, not this time. I'm going in and I'm going quickly, striking that first blood just like Kelly did in his quarterfinal heat. But how about that second section? Are you kidding me?
You talk about he saw that chance to go ahead and pounce on it. John actually defeated himself in that last heat. Yes, of course, guys got better waves. But Jamie O'Brien looks at this, seizes the opportunity. He's absolutely toying with it, pulling on the brakes, pumping when he needs to, comes out, dots all the I's, crosses the T's, and says, hey, Dad, thanks for raising me at the pipeline.
His dad, longtime lifeguard here, now fisherman. He's next door, and he was fired up for his boy. Look at the way he just punches through that foam ball at the end, and then this turn, bang, smash, all the way home. Jamie O'Brien, we said it, you could smell it. Won this thing in 2010. Only 3 people have won this event. John Florence, Kelly Slater, and Jamie O'Brien. John, of course, is out. He was looking to make it a 4th win.
I think he's out there wearing a wetsuit, too. Kind of interested. You know, most guys are in their board shorts. Obviously, I was wearing my Volcom board shorts, but it looks like, I think he rides for Body Glove, right? So he's got a wetsuit on. Kelly also was switching between board shorts and wetsuit and said, hey, the wetsuit can be a little hot out there because you're exerting so much energy. Speaking of exerting energy in all the right time and places, Pipeline snuffs out that fire of Mason Ho.
Wow. It looked like there was some weird convergence of water at the end of that wave. As you see, Jamie still dancing through a little insider.
That was a unique wave that Mason Ho took off on. It was so far to the right of your screen that it actually ran off the Pipeline Reef, and right between the Pipeline Reef and the Aukai Reef, there's a little bit of sand channel. That's where that wave actually hit that collapse, and he wasn't able to punch through it. Although Jamie somehow managed to do it on his.
Can you believe what Pipeline is doing right now? Ever since quarterfinal 1, it's like someone put a whole bunch of coins into the meter and said, it is on.
I can't believe what it's done since the first heat yesterday. In case you haven't heard that explosion, that was my mind being blown. I don't have any more words. No more superlatives, nothing to do. Sal, could you please talk for me?
I'm actually going to let Micaiah McNamara do it because he is with Tina Dixon right now as he just moved on with Dusty Payne.
Yeah, and Mackay, you started out in that heat with a high score, and then you used the priority to your advantage there at the end. Walk us through those final moments.
That was a really stressful heat. I got one fun one, and it ended up being an 8-5, and then I kind of just sat with priority the rest of the heat because I didn't see anybody really get a good one, so I was just kind of waiting for a perfect one to come my way, and that didn't end up really happening, but I held it on, and so John and Dusty, and they never got the waves, and I just got really, really lucky, and I'm super stoked to make it.
Well, it was a nail biter here on the beach, but you've said that you've competed here before, and this is the farthest you've made it. You'll be moving on to the semifinals. What's the mindset now?
Yeah, I've been competing in this event since I was 15 years old, and I only end up making 1 or 2 heats every year, and this year I feel a little more confident with just everything, boards and myself, and I've been going through an injury and kind of making me feel a little more confident, making me learn a lot of things, but I'm just going to take it to the semifinal, and hopefully I can get to the final and win the whole thing, but it's just heat by heat. So.
Heat by heat, and so far it's been paying off, Sal.
Thank you very much, Tina. It's cool to get some perspective on the maturing and growing up here in this event from Mackay. Meanwhile, Soli Bailey, foam ball dancing with a double spit dance on a nice little wave at Pipeline.
I'm pretty sure he can't believe that he made that wave. That thing was just tickling the underside of his board to the point where it was just about to throw him. It actually did probably throw him, but it actually threw him out of the barrel instead of up into the lip. The replay of every single one of these waves is absolutely amazing. Thank you to the crew out in the water. The water footage that Larry Haynes is producing off the back of that jet ski is mind-blowing. It's almost like you're in the water with him.
Yeah, between Larry Haynes, who I think no one spent more time in a wetsuit than Larry Haynes, and those drone shots. I mean, we've got you covered on land with I don't know how many cameras. Look at Mason Ho. Did you see the way he readjusts there, driving through pipe? And yeah, give him a point for that cool, stiff body neck turn kick out.
Nobody spends more time in a wetsuit than Larry Haynes, and nobody spends more time in a barrel at Pipeline than Mason Ho.
Yeah, I like that kick out. If you could give points for kick outs, I would.
I actually win.
How's this wave?
It's phenomenal. Look, every aspect of it. It looked like it was just going to clamp like the first one did. Stays open. I actually went up to Michael Ho earlier and said, thank you for that child. Here is an absolutely textbook perfect wave by Whitaker. Just perfect positioning.
This is awesome.
Okay, here's that Soy Bailey wave. Watch that foam ball. Look at he's dancing on that thing. Somebody tried to pull the carpet out from under him. He's absolutely baffled that he made that.
Yeah, well, the judges are probably sitting there baffled going, man, we got to figure this out. But they are the best in the business, and they will be. Look at these, even these little waves on the inside, blowing so much bit here on this perfect afternoon at Pipeline. We're going to crown a champion today, folks. How happy are you that you are tuned in with us, whether it's via Red Bull TV, Time Warner Oceanic Cable, if you're watching on your laptop, if you're using the Volcom app to watch it on a phone. We are happy to have you with us around the world.
Get involved. The stoke is real.
We talk about the impact of this event and the real community feel of it. Of course, the Volcom Pipe Pro really aims to make sure that there is a minimal impact to the community and environment. For more on that, Jason Shibata.
Thanks, Sal. I'm here with Kahi Pacaro from Sustainable Coastlines Hawaii. Kahi, can you tell us a bit about what Sustainable Coastlines does for the community?
Well, for the community, we host large-scale cleanups across the state, from the south of Big Island all the way to the top in Papahanama, Kuakea. And our goal is to really inspire local communities to care for their coastlines through hands-on beach cleanups.
And how can the public get involved?
You can follow along on Instagram at Sustainable Coastlines Hawaii. The people down here on the beach can use our systems here. We're trying to educate people that we're throwing away things that are actually good resources like recyclables and compost. And look in your own life where you can reduce plastic use.
Well, we appreciate all the things that you folks are doing, and we're excited to do our part. So check out the website and let's get back to live action.
Thank you very much, and those guys doing a great job. All the trash cans here are marked. If you can't read, There's pictures that show you where you're supposed to recycle, what's trash and what's compostable, leaving a minimal imprint. Meanwhile, we've got scores here and some raves being written. There's Jamie O'Brien staying busy on a bucking Bronco. How's that?
The fact that these guys aren't just getting lip launched on every single one of those. Look at the flare. There's like fireworks going off in there. And he is just racing out of that barrel like a cannonball.
Hit 2 feet on the front foot of the board at the end, super styly as if he was on a longboard, then kicks out and tries to do a backside 540. That's crazy.
The surfing is just phenomenal, and so is the teamwork here. Right on to Kahi Picaro and the guys over at Sustainable Coastlines. He said he was going from Ka'u down to the South Point all the way up to that big long name that's up in the Northwest Hawaiian Islands. And, you know, not only is he taking care of the beach, but he's giving back to the community. Right on. Always appreciate it. Other ways that you guys could get involved. I myself walked over to the Eukai Lifeguard Tower. I was checking out some of these competitors like Juan Drew, who in that last heat put on a spectacle of a show, posting 8.8, I believe, for that double arm drag. Pulled into a gaping hole, came out, petted the kitty, and went right back into another one. Like I was saying, over at the Eukai Tower, they got some of the goods that they're giving away and selling on scene. All that money goes right back against to the kids across the street, and it is a good way for you guys to get involved if you're on scene. Otherwise, go to Volcom and check out some of the merchandise, and that goes back to the kids of the Boys and Girls Club of Honolulu.
Yeah, so much giving in many directions, including the giving that is coming from Pipeline. How about the semifinal number 1? Kelly Slater just got dry, and he's got to get ready to get after it again. He'll be joining Juan Drew, who we just saw, and then Bruce Irons, another super story, and the Uruguayan, Marco Giorgi, who I had a conversation with, moved from Uruguay to Brazil when he was 11. He's been living in the Floripa area, and that's where he's been. He's 27 years old now. Just said, hey, tell me some things, man. And he was just so excited. Look at this insider. God, that thing stood up. It was bigger round than it was tall.
There's that little channel at the end of the reef that I was talking about, and it actually forces its waves to clamp down. If it was maybe 15 yards out, it would have stayed open. 15 yards in, it would have stayed open. But that little tiny crack in the reef also separates backdoor from off the wall, which you see it pinching a lot of the time. And out the back, speaking of pinching, guys are fretting trying to get under this thing.
It was crazy in that last set. Look at that thing just reel off, blow itself up.
It's amazing that these people know exactly which wave to go for. Some of the waves that they're riding, like that last wave with Jamie O'Brien, that was looking like those fireworks are flaring up, compared to a wave like this by Tommy Whitaker, where it's just absolutely picture perfect. He talked about his enthusiasm, how excited he was. Pipeline just said, don't get too cocky, kid.
He would have been so stoked if he punched out of that one. Imagine if we got to see Tommy Witz move on into the final. That would be an upset if either Sully Bailey or Tommy Whitaker were able to take out the local boys, Jamie O'Brien and Mason Ho. That would be a story, as right now they are 1 and 2.
Kind of a story that Mackay McNamara is writing for himself right now. Now, it's funny because there's Kelly, look at him, looking sharp in his boardies. All right, buddy. What's going through his mind right now? I want to have as much fun as possible.
Well, you know, it's just, really having a good time out here. And it was really good, and we'll strike early this time.
There's Mackay walking around. It was funny, I was talking to Liam, and he quoted, not only is Mackay one of his kids and being raised to do things like, okay.
Sully Bailey, can you give extra points for that job, please?
I almost fell out of my chair. How did he hold on? That was horrifying. But Liam was talking about how Mackay is one of his kids, but Ayala, although not by the same blood, is one of his favorite children as well. And both of them were in that last heat. Mackay moved on convincingly, winning the heat. Pretty impressive for such a young kid. That drop, speaking of impressive young kids, Soy Bailey is manning up to Mother Nature. Was that Chopo? Or was that Pipeline? I'm kind of questioning.
It looked Chopish. Meanwhile, Jamie O'Brien is feeling the rhythm, feeling the dance. He's in the zone.
Apparently so.
Peaking at the right time. By the way, this guy was literally out getting barreled in a two-man kayak out here 2 days ago. Getting actually barreled.
Yes, I know. I'm a lifeguard. It drives me nuts. I know that he's capable. Some of his friends, not so much. And, you know, Jamie's a tough character, but please, for the love of all that's good and holy, sit on the beach and watch him do it. Because that's entertainment, people.
Yeah, just like, you know, like John and Kelly, you just see he's got this other natural ability to just sort of, when he's in the zone, do whatever he wants to in the barrel here.
Watching Jamie O'Brien grow up, it was apparent that his innate talent and his ability, his balance, was just out of this world. And the kid was just capable of always standing back up and perfectly piped.
Oh, Tommy Whitaker.
Tommy Witz is showing the kids what's up.
Will not be denied. He says, I was on the tour for a reason. And this is why you want me to be your coach. Come on.
Coach, you might have to call him sir. You might have to call him master. Master of the bonsai. Woo!
That wave's going to move him into second place. He only needed a 3.84. It's just depending on what the score will be. But that thing was nuts.
Absolutely crazy, crazy surfing. You know, I walked in here today and I had a decent IQ, but after watching this, I think I've lost my mind. There's so much amazing surfing.
Get ready to lose your mind again, because look at those bumps out the back that are marching in.
Non-stop. It's like you said, somebody actually stuck in a bunch of money and just turned the machine on.
Actually, they just rigged it so that you didn't have to put any more money in. You just keep playing, keep playing, keep
it's
playing.
Pipeline's on tilt.
Yeah, it's on tilt.
There you go.
Here we go. Tommy Whitaker just moved into second with an 8.07. We said that there were potentials for upset. We're looking at a Mason Ho now. He needs to get a score, looking for a 5.75. Sully Bailey way back there needing a 7.91. But anything is possible, as we've seen through this entire event, especially the last 2 days, in the dying minutes of these heats.
And with 5 minutes left, Mason Ho is sitting with priority. What you need to do right now is let all these wobbles go away, find your groove, which he's obviously had this whole event. And to me, when I look at the guy, he looks like he's having so much fun, whether he's on the beach or in the water. I think he's just got this perfect song going through his head, and it just puts him in that happy place. So Mason, find the groove. You know you got it. Checking back in, checking his lineups on land. He knows exactly where to sit.
It looks like there's a lot of water moving around in all different directions out there.
Absolutely. And Mason's been one of these guys who's actually choosing to ride a lot bigger board. And, you know, that's a 7.6 to an 8.0, where everybody else, Kelly Slater's on a 6.6. I talked to Marco Giorgio. He's on a 6.3. Mason's board's probably got twice the amount of volume, and it's obviously getting him over some of these crazy foam balls. It's working for him. So the main thing is don't beat yourself up before you paddle out.
Well, with 4 minutes to go, here is how we got here. Jamie O'Brien decided to strike early and fast that first section, and then through the second section just hits it, busts through the foam door, and got a 7.77 for that.
Absolutely. Picture perfect positioning. Mr. O'Brien, slamski bamski.
That turn was sick.
And it just doesn't stop. One after the other, backing it up. Here's that flaring one, spitting its guts out, saying, you know what? I've been here for a while, and I'm here to stay. Jamie O'Brien toying with Pipeline. Not to be outdone, right behind him, Tom Whitaker from Australia. Wow, wow, wow. What'd you say? It was nuts.
It was nuts?
It was nuts, cuz.
Absolutely nuts, mate. Or nuts, cuz. Wow, Tommy Whitaker, not to be denied. He's been on a roll here. Some extra focus. He got that 8.07. He's got a 4.5 to back it up. And with 2 minutes and 56 seconds to go, That would be an upset if Tommy Whitaker sent Mason Ho to the showers.
Nah, I don't think so. We got 2.5 minutes. I got way too much faith.
Not saying it's going to happen.
Way too much faith in my local boys.
It would be an upset.
You remember when you walk out of here, you're still in Hawaii. Oh, I got you back. I love it.
Why are you trying to make life difficult for me? I've had no issues in the 20 years I've been coming here, and now you
Issues? You want to know issues? I've got so many issues. I've got the whole subscription. Speaking of which, Mr. Kelly Slater eyeing up what's on tap.
We get to stick in here for one more heat with Bruce, Marco Giorgi. That dude is Jean Duroux. 2 minutes to go. Mason Ho has priority. He is in charge of his own fate should the ocean provide him the opportunity to direct it.
That was so PC. That was amazing.
Oh, you know, it's what I do.
You are a professional.
It's what I'm here for.
Thanks for putting up with me.
But it's the truth. I mean, listen, he's got the keys to the con. He's holding the steering wheel of the ship. If the ocean gives him an opportunity, he's the guy.
Floor it.
Floor it. Press it. Sully Bailey, too. He's got second priority. He needs a 7.91. We've been seeing those scores fly in here all day long. The ocean all of a sudden does weird things. Is there enough time for these guys to get the chance?
Mason Ho, summon your inner Bruce Irons in the dying seconds. How many times has Bruce made this comeback?
3 times
in a row?
He's dropped backdoor hammers within the last 30 seconds of a heat.
Love it. I can't wait to see it happen. The action that we've got on tap is non-stop. I see nothing but more lines coming. Here comes a little shuffle in the lineup. Mason's taking a look at it. He's eyeing it up.
Kick in on that big board. Looks at pipeline and then says, I'm going to try my hand at backdoor. He gets a little barrel. Is that a 5.75 though?
I'm not even going there. All I know is that the amount of time he had to look left, look right, look left, look right, and then saying, okay, I'm going to go right, was amazing. And that was due to that big board.
Sully Bailey with next priority, looking for a 7.91. He grabs his rail, drives through this first section. This is a pretty little wave. Is he going to get a bonus double section?
He's got the bonus.
He does. Smashes it at the end. Is that a 7.91? They both got their opportunities. They made the most of them in the moment. We shall see. We'll wait for the official score.
I'm a little nervous because I saw Whitaker 7, and then I saw Bailey 7, and that's what the judges are going to do, right?
Yes. Once again, to all the Hawaiians who are watching,
we love you.
We love you, and I'm just here to call it as it's happening.
Oh, you're the man.
Well, looks like it's going to be Jamie O'Brien and Tommy Witts that are moving on. We'll get the official call when we come back for semifinal number 1.
What the f is this? Let me guess. Extreme sports commercial. Attitude, hang time, butts, more butts. What happened to all the renegades of tomorrow just looking for, well, tomorrow? Crack the door. Peek in.
We waste no time getting into it. Look at these guys dodging bombs as we start semifinal heat number 1. We just saw Bruce Irons get away. We will show you that replay. And here it is. Bruce Irons from Hawaii, from Kauai in red. Marco Giorgi in blue. From Uruguay, Kelly Slater, pride of Lauridet, Cocoa Beach. and Joan Duru from France in black.
I got to apologize to Marco Giorgi. I keep calling him Giorgio. I keep thinking he's playing Mario Karts. The guy's just out here just bopping around, picking up gold coins.
That guy's playing Mario Karts.
He's having way too much fun.
How does that weaving through that first one, that first section for Kelly? And yeah, I'm just going to try and hit that thing. No, I feel like we can get it. Here's Bruce right behind him.
So when I talked about summoning your inner Bruce Irons is summoning.
Excuse me, that was not Bruce. That was Bruce. Sorry.
Oh yeah.
It was Bruce.
Oh yeah, riding that textbook Andy Irons surfboard of his. Bango.
Score for Kelly Slater, an 8.07. For Bruce Irons, a 6.
And right there, off to the races here at the pipeline.
I like this. I like the way this is setting up. I like the non-stop pulsing that we're getting. You can see some second reef cappers. If you're Joan Duru, what's your mindset here when you're going up against Kelly and Bruce and an on-fire Marco Giorgi?
He is going to stick to his guns and do exactly what he's been doing the whole contest. He's been sitting underneath these things. Make no qualms about it. The guy comes from a really heavy wave itself. He is very used to taking off and putting himself underneath the ledge at Hossegor. It's a really thick wave. Yes, it's sand bottom, but it's really thick, and it does that quite often.
Right. Wow. How was the way that thing just sort of sat back and backed off and then doubled up on top of itself?
I think most waves in the world are capable of doing a spit.
Right.
Pipeline barfs. That thing just vomited
Ugh.
copious amounts of white water out of it, and it is just releasing itself. There's Marco Giorgio from Uruguay.
Yeah, he's got such a cool, very, very calm demeanor. Like talking to him, he's happy to be here. He's just happy to be here. I don't think he could believe it. And like we were talking about earlier, once he realized, like, oh, I'm in the quarters, I'm in the semis, this is the real deal. And now, you know, he's been one of the main stories of this event. What an upset it would be if he was able to break through and make the final.
He's not a stranger to competitive surfing.
No.
You know, he's been actually chasing this world tour for quite a while. There was one year where he had a ton of points and he's doing all the primes. He forgot to pay his membership on time, lost all his points, went all the way back down the ranks.
Are you kidding me?
Why would I kid you? You're my best friend.
I'd be done. I would
devastated. Well, he did
I'd
take
be
a year
broken.
off. He did take a year off, came back, started his campaign. Now, the funny thing is that Mr. Giorgi, coming out here riding a 6.3, why would you ever ride a 6.3 at Second Reef Pipeline? You know what his answer was? There's nobody else out there. Right. I don't have to battle against 100 guys. I can sit exactly where I want and take the waves I want. I said, oh, okay. And
yeah.
You're obviously doing that.
Good sense.
And I'm going to tattoo your name on me so I never get it wrong again.
You keep trying to give him an O, and I love it. He buckled a little piece of that Magic 6.3 and has it as backup. I believe he's on a different board right now, but scratching and having a look. Oh! Joan Duru was stuck up there for a little bit, seemed like forever, managed to make his way down.
For a second, I thought we moved the contest to Waimea. That wave was giant. That was one of the bigger first reef waves I've seen of this event. Unable to pull up under the hood, but definitely able to outrace the guillotine. Mr. Joan Duru, he's been a very, very impressive surfer throughout this event as well. One of those guys that you never really, I've seen him surf, but it's always in the full suit. It's always over there in France. You know, he does come here. Actually, I saw him surf really good at Haleiwa on his backhand, and it was impressive. But to me, honestly, I'd be more impressed by a guy who gets barreled than a guy who doesn't turn.
Well, old school. I think when you talk about those French beach breaks, it makes sense that those guys are able to come over here and perform because the waves get very heavy there. I mean, one of the only places I've ever heard Kelly Slater talk about, I almost drowned. And for him to say, I almost drowned, that's a real thing, was in France.
And those waves are breaking right next to the beach. It's not like he paddled a mile out to some outer reef. You're drowning literally 100 yards from shore. it's real. It's real. It's really powerful. And taking advantage of these lumps right now, having a sniff.
Not sure if that was Marco Giorgi.
I'm thinking it was Bruce because it was a right.
Yeah, he has priority. That's the only reason why I say it. But yeah, that light at this time of day, it's sometimes hard to pick out guys before we zero in on them and see them catch a wave. 17 minutes, 52 seconds to go here. What a crazy day of surfing. I mean, as I play it back in my mind, it's so many waves. Of course, Dave Riddle will be in here later on. He's going to give us his picks for what the highlights were of the day, and we're going to crown a champion. Someone's
we're
walking away with
a ton of money.
Ton of money and a super cool helmet. Jamie O'Brien had his in his kitchen. I was over there the other night for a barbecue, and I was like, oh yeah, wow, that would look good in someone's house. What? Are you kidding?
Tommy Whitaker?
No, that was Marco Giorgi.
I'm going back to last heat. My mind is
wait
done.
till you see that drop.
I'm done. Stick a fork in me. I am done.
Kelly gets snuffed there at the end, but wait till you see the drop for Marco Giorgi. You're gonna lose your brain because I saw you scanning the horizon right when he took off, but you're gonna lose it.
Was he?
Watch this.
Not making this because he's not on that Magic 6-3?
Ooh.
No, he did everything right. Everything right. Probably just leaned a little bit forward too much.
I love this bottom turn in the barrel.
That wave threw horizontally for like 1,000,000 feet and then threw him horizontally into an inch of water. Kelly right behind it, not to be outdone. There's that channel. There's that channel. Marco.
So explain the channel again and why it is sort of putting a stop sign there.
There's just the end of the reef. I mean, if we swam out right now with sandbags, we could probably fill it up for these guys.
Right.
You know, but it keeps it kind of interesting. It's good for television.
Yeah.
It proves that they're actually human. They're not just a bunch of aliens out there.
I don't know, that guy.
All the laws of physics.
Not too sure.
Well, we saw John get defeated in the last heat.
Yeah.
Up until that point, unstoppable.
He looked like he was absolutely chilling on his home planet, and then we saw a little bit of light kryptonite in the water in that heat for John. But still, I mean, he surfed insane.
He did. He did. You can't take anything away. He's won this thing 4 times. I actually joke with John.
4 times. I've been saying 3 times. 4 times.
He's won 1,000,000 times. Volcom has paid him so much money. I joke with him and tell him, you know, you actually ride for Volcom, not Hurley. And yes, Bob is laughing too. Mr. Bob Hurley, thank you so much.
Saw Bob Hurley last night at Lele's. You know, one of the happiest people ever. Got to celebrate his 60th birthday with him out at Tavarua watching pack barrels. But look at this other angle here of Marco Giorgi.
And that's where that shortboard comes in. At 7.6 that I'd be riding would have poked all the way up to my throat. This guy he's a beast.
It's a real deal.
Straight up.
From Uruguay to Brazil to the North Shore. And like you said, given the opportunity to surf this place without 100 humans who are way ahead of you in the pecking order you're not a part of, you can show your stuff.
And to see them all wrapped up in Volcom garb, I love it. It's like they're all on our team. I love it. Speaking of being on the team, out the back on a bomb.
Bruce Irons parks it and just gets blown out wonderfully.
He just pulled into that thing. That barrel was so gigantic.
It's crazy. He makes it, you know, we watch sometimes in slow motion, and you don't realize how fast guys are going. And Bruce is so calm and sleepy in his style that he makes it worse, that you really don't know how fast he's going.
I love the fact that he never went anywhere near the bottom half of that wave. Like, how did he not just free fall all the way down on his face, sticks his rail, maintains that high line, and comes out the only place possible, way up high?
All he needed was a backup score of a 3.58.
You gonna say he got it?
To move ahead. I'm going to say that he got it, unless the judges don't like me. But I believe he's going to move into first. And put Kelly there in that uncomfortable second spot where Marco Giorgi and Giron Duru are only needing a 3.61 and 4.94 to get involved.
Well, if Andy Irons can't be here himself to physically challenge Kelly Slater, Bruce Irons will do it physically and mentally. Look at this angle, up close and personal. He's got a whole different skeg system using that front arm. Directing himself out of a gutter ball.
That is an incredible amount of technique, matching style. We've been talking about his recommitment, his rededication to surfing this season, and it has not been lip service. I mean, he has been one of the standout performers of this entire winter, and he's come into this event as focused as a human can.
I love the fact that every single one of these heats, there are 10s on tap. It's just putting yourself just in that position, and guys are really throwing themselves in harm's way. You know, Ian Folk is sitting next door with a bunch of giant checks that Electric's giving away for $1,000. What are you going to do for that $1,000? How are you going to get your 10?
Oh, I'm not going to go out there and try and get a 10, that's for sure. Maybe they'll give me a check for all this talking for the last few days. But, you know, we've been talking a lot about Bruce, but why don't we hear in his words a little bit of his mindset coming in to the Volcom Pipe Pro.
I don't really have a strategy. I just kind of go out there and try to, hopefully I get a good roll with Mother Nature, and hopefully we can connect. To win any contest is great, and especially to win here at Pipeline, it'd be, you know, it's been a while, and I definitely want to have that feeling again.
Out in the lineup, a big drop here. Backdoor providing Brucey Irons with something special. Out he comes.
He did it again. He has moved ahead in 3 different heats within the last minute of the event. You heard him say, you know, as we saw one of those at backdoor, one of the smaller ones. There were a couple other giant ones that he did that with. You heard him say how good it would feel for him to win again at Pipeline. He wants that feeling back. Of course, this year, as he's really verbally said that he's doing it for both he and his brother Andy, who's no longer with us. It would be something special to see him be able to realize that goal as he tries to get in tune with nature to move on to the finals. Just like that, here comes some sets, and not wasting any time, Marco Giorgi. Look at that thing.
How cool is it going from like a 20-foot wide barrel to like a 20-inch wide barrel, and he still knows exactly where to put himself to make it through that. And that was the only good wave of the set. That all the rest of the sets are just way too big. They're giant. Guys are scratching for the horizon right now. You know, it's really cool that Red Bull's going so far as to doing these kind of in-house things and getting these interviews. Bruce is extremely candid. He's very shy. What I see is a very mature individual. Now you see him, yes, all the times in magazines and in movies. Walk over to my house, you can see a picture of him on the wall, ripping, doing what he does. But to hear him speak and allow him to get into his mind, that's really cool, Bruce. Thanks for doing that.
Do you know what I saw today?
Tell me.
I saw a mock-up of the next cover of Surfer magazine and had Bruce Irons on it.
Boom goes the dynamite.
And Marco Giorgi, by the way, that was cover shot-esque. Look at it from overhead.
Thank you so much to Eric Sturman with his drone footage. That DJI drone footage is just incredible. Right there's that channel. He escaped right before it. Smart man.
This angle is just the best. Larry Haynes, get that guy in some sort of a cinematography award. It should go to him.
The maestro.
The maestro out there on that jet ski all day and smiling at the end of the day, just happy. He really counts it a privilege, a real privilege to be able to be the guy who brings you that perspective there from the shoulder. Thank you, Larry. I know you can hear us. And there's Dusty Payne. How about Dusty? You know, that incredible day yesterday, he had to wait until the last heat to surf. He was just sitting there on top of the roof at the Volcom house, literally chewing through wood and just trying to stay mellow. And then as soon as he paddles out, the wind just goes nuts. He's like, I couldn't believe as soon as I paddled out, the wind came up. And now I'm negotiating these 2-foot chops that are coming up the face. And now he's in the conversation. He stayed the course, and he'd like, no doubt, to make his way into the final.
And he got an incredible backdoor wave at the biggest moment of yesterday's giant swell.
Yeah.
Which is super rare, but nothing outside of what Dusty Payne is capable. Speaking of maturing, Dusty Payne is on the next level.
Indeed. Well, look at this. Marco Giorgi, 7.43 for that last wave. He moves his way into second place right behind Bruce Irons. Kelly Slater looking for a 1.76. Priority is with Joan Duru, who's looking for that 8.76. Kelly doesn't need much, as you can see, just to stand up and wave to the beach. What is going to happen? Who is going to make the next move here with 7 minutes to go?
Speaking up of standing up and waving to the beach, up and riding on his backside, parking it.
Come on. What planet are you from, guy?
I know where he lives. He lives in Tube City.
He's like, you said I needed to stand up and wave to the beach, Sal? Well, watch this.
He needed a 1.
Yeah, 1.76.
Yeah, it's definitely. I'm going to give it to him.
It's going to be a.
I'm going to go out on a limb.
Listen, you don't want to speculate.
I'm going to go out on a limb here.
You don't want to speculate. You know, the judges have a tough job out there. They might have seen something we did.
What I want to know was, where's Joan Drew? With priority, why wasn't he on that wave?
That's a great question.
And here we go again, reading this thing like it's a textbook. He's not reading it, he's writing the book. Up, down, front setter, bang. Enthusiastic since day one. Sitting on the beach talking to Kelly was pretty awesome. Like, tell me about your best pipe moment. He's like, I remember a wave I got in 1991 in the Pipe Masters where I went over the ledge, a crazy wave, and I only got a 9. Still to this day, better than any 10 I've ever gotten.
That is a beautiful thing.
On the replay, looking at Mr. Giorgi. Smart game in there. Pearl within the oyster.
Trying to answer back. Well, that last score for Kelly, a 9.07. Puts him way out front with a 17.14. But we got plenty of time and plenty of waves. Look at this with the double hand drag.
Don't say his name too many times. Beetlejuice, Beetlejuice, Beetlejuice. Mr. Joan Drew picks up the pace.
Well, he needed to. He was sitting on a 1.7, and it comboed, and at some point he had to get involved. And he's going to get a strong score for that one.
It's so interesting seeing, with only 4 guys out, how big the playing field at Pipeline really is. Now I see these little gems over here that are, personally, I would be sitting way off the left, right where that piece of white water is, way outside under that Volcom stone, rolling in on the second reef, and then on the way out looking for these waves. He could have been on that wave for 100 yards trying to pull in way deeper than that. But, you know, maybe that's why I'm not in this contest anymore either. These guys are playing a smart game. Look how giant that barrel is, just petting the kitty. It's a heavy petting zoo.
Well, he's finally going to have a score on the board. He is comboed. And he would definitely like to get out of this situation. Kelly is, when it comes to first place, he has the entire field comboed. Marco Giorgi looking for a 5.57 to move on into second place and knock out Bruce Irons. This is going to be exciting stuff. You know, there's nothing but waves coming in, but looks like here comes another set out the back.
This is where things are going to get really, really interesting. These waves, they're not as teepee. They're a little more stretched out. What that's going to turn into is these guys are scratching back to the right-hand side of your screen, barely getting under that first one. A lot of time this waves, as they roll right on past, You watch how they run across the sandbar, and that one stayed open like a gaping hole. Nobody even took a look at it. Interesting. Interesting.
Bruce Irons with priority, followed by Kelly, and then Marco Giorgi and Joandrew.
So Giorgi needs about a 5, basically, to overcome Bruce right now. Really put the pressure on.
A 5.5. And Joandrew, he's out of that combo, only needs an 8.27. Not only, but he only needs 1 score. Here's how we got here.
With big thumping guitar licks. That's how we got here. Kelly Slater, the maestro, just rocking out, jamming it when it counts, having way too much fun, but not to be outdone. Bruce Irons making it look so beautiful, so in tune with the ocean. Says he wants to get in a relationship with Mother Pipeline. Bruce, it's apparent you are right there, my friend.
Yeah, she's showing love. How was that wave from Kelly? That drop really, from that backside angle there, puts it in perspective.
Such a cool angle, right? You actually saw him bottom turn and jump over that hop over section into the Ukai Express and just putting a stamp of approval on that turn.
Style that matters.
Style that performs.
Matters, performs, all of it.
Got it. Mr. Kelly Slater. I own a pair of his signature sunglasses.
It's a pretty big deal that Electric was able to make a deal with Kelly and get him into sunglasses, because if you know him and you could really think, when was the last time you saw a photo before this Electric situation of Kelly in sunglasses? When was the last time you saw him in sunglasses? It wasn't a thing for him.
When's the last time you saw any of these guys getting barreled at back door?
Come on,
about right now. Do it, do it, do it.
1 minute, 23 seconds to go. Bruce in that first position of priority. Marco Giorgi right behind him. Again, only needs a 5.57. It has been Bruce who's been the with less than a minute ago, hero. Imagine if Marco turned the tables.
Not going to happen. Not going to happen. No, I just erased the last 60 seconds. And we're moving on. Highlight reel, please.
Listen.
It would be wrong for me not to root for guys from Hawaii.
Of course.
Okay.
Listen.
Let's just go there.
Of course I'm going to be very happy if Bruce Irons and Kelly Slater make it in the final.
True that.
But it's also my job to acknowledge that there's opportunity for that not to happen.
No. Sorry. We can still be friends, but after the next 30 seconds.
You're going to make it so that when the contest is over, I have to drive to town and like sneak out on a private flight and never be welcome back to the North Shore.
Sal, you've been more than welcomed here in these islands. There's so much aloha for you. It is not even funny.
And I'm so grateful for it, man.
15 seconds left.
My favorite place in the world. And it looks like with just a few seconds to go, that is the horn, and that is it.
Marco, you are still the man. I am very, very impressed by your surfing abilities. You, my friend, are a champion.
It's a win for Marco Giorgi. You know, this event has really put him on a grander scale. But Kelly Slater, Bruce Irons, moving on. Semi-final number 2 with Joe Tappel now.
A staple that's existed from Volcom are the ModTech board shorts. These stay true to function. Designed to meet the needs and demands of a serious surfer that are put to the ultimate test by our athletes. All ModTech styles feature a reprieve recycled stretch fabric with a water repellent finish, fastened with our cinch 5 for maximum comfort and hold. I want to invite you to experience the liberation of Volcom board shorts.
I guess style is kind of what defines how you look or how you act. It's not something that you try and create, it's just things that you gravitate towards that kind of represent what you are.
Well, my good uncle always tells me just keep it smooth and glassy. And I am so in love with the ocean and what it provides for my soul. It's just that unconditional love.
So
The waves are absolutely firing here at the Volcom Pipe Pros. We just finished off the first semifinal. Kelly Slater, Bruce Irons already into the final of his QS 3000. And now we got to add 2 more surfers to the final. Mackay McNamara takes on Dusty Payne, Jamie O'Brien, and Tommy Whitaker as the clock is already winding down as we look at the horizon filled with tons of opportunity. Joe Chappelle with Dave Riddle, Matty Bemrose for the calls. We go to the Welcome to Water replay to kick things off quickly. Mackay McNamara has been on an absolute tear in this matchup and looks like he really wants a spot in the final, Riddle.
Yeah, he does. He's been in since the early rounds. He's been through thick and thin out here. He knows the place really well. He's out there now with 3 guys around him. It's 10 feet. It's perfect pipe. He's got a chance to prove himself, and he really has done that today. He's real close to being in the final right now at this event.
Mackay 317 wants to join this man, Kelly Slater, in the final. Let's hear from Kelly with Tina Dixon.
Yeah, Kelly Slater will be moving on to the finals. But Kelly, what is the decision-making process like for you guys out there right now?
You don't think about it much. You just see them pop up, and you're just trying to figure out what spot to get in. I fell on a really good one in that heat, but not much I could do about it. I was in the right spot, and I did everything I could, and it just, you know, when the lip breaks and the barrel opens, it breathes air back in. You know, it needs to pull some air into that, like a vacuum, and it just straight back in. Thing just spit went back in my face. My lips are still tingling from that. It was like 20 minutes ago. But yeah, it's unbelievable out there. I just can't get enough.
You know, we're sitting up here and it just looks one after the other. How would you describe conditions?
One after another.
Yeah. That's pretty much it right there.
No, it's perfect. I mean, the wind is flawless. The swell direction changed today. Actually, it was real kind of shortening up interval this morning. So we've seen more peaky ones, and it was kind of closing out from the north a little bit. All of a sudden, this new energy came in, they predicted, and it's coming more from the west. So it's super shallow out there, but because it's coming across from the west, it gives you enough angle to get down them and set your line. So it's amazing.
Very much looking forward to the finals. Bruce Irons and Kelly will be in them. Best of luck, Kelly.
Thanks a lot, Tina and Kelly Slater, making another Volcom Pipe Pro final. He was in the final last season where he got 3rd. Year before, he won this contest. Year before that, Bemrose, he was just trying to get a heat because it was firing and he hadn't signed up. But from now on, he's always in the event. And once again, he's going to be testing everybody in that final clash.
Well, he knows to enter him now because, you know, if the Volcom Pipe Pro's on, the waves are going to be absolutely roping. Touch wood, and I tell you what, it's happened again for us, and it's quite unbelievable speaking to the boys across the way there, and everyone's going, wow, we've done it again. Like, how's this happened? And, you know, is it this time of year? Is it the good karma? I think it's everything. But watching Kelly, it's so funny to watch him go through his heats and just step up another gear. You know, he starts in 3rd gear, 4th gear, and, you know, that total right there, 17 points. And what's the final going to bring?
Absolutely dominating form for Kelly Slater. When you look at Tom Whitaker, you see a guy that's had a lot of heat experience, passing on his knowledge to an amazing surf team. He's worked with so many standouts over the years, including Hawaiian Sebastian Zietz, who finaled last season. But now Whitaker has got this dream scenario of surfing pipe uncrowded and a chance to make the final. The thing is, with John Florence out of the contest, Jamie O'Brien is looking to take top honors once again. What are you predicting from Jamie in this heat, Riddle?
I think he'll have a big heat. He's, you know, like, he's watching, you know, he saw John go down. He's won it once. You know, all these guys are living to win this event. Kelly, Bruce, Dusty, they're all living, this is what they live for. They don't have to do this event. Like Kelly, those guys are on tour. They don't need the points. It's not, but this is so prestigious to do well here. And then to have the conditions be like this is man surf. And these guys are putting on quite a show for us, and we're really blessed again with just incredible conditions.
We see Mackay McNamara on screen there for a moment, wearing the red jersey in this lineup. Mackay and Dusty were in that heat where everyone was waiting for John to take over. Bemmy, it wasn't the case. John was left chasing a score, got clipped by a couple of waves. But now Mackay's profile is building. He was one of the reasons why Florence is out of the contest. A solid one at backdoor. Driving through is Tommy Whitaker, making Australia proud right there, Bemmy.
Yeah, Tommy Witts, I tell you what, he's just ecstatic at that one. Here we have Dusty Payne and Mackay splitting the peak. Dustin, wow,
It's going to be Mackay McNamara still looking to make the exit of pipe. Dusty went straight as he was sitting a little bit deeper. An interesting exchange there that kind of took us by surprise. You know, we know the start of these matchups, Riddle, nobody has priority. Right there, Dusty and Mackay were both looking at pipe. Let's see what happened here.
Well, the judge is going to have to determine if, you know, he hindered his ride. It's as simple as that. And Dusty straightened out, and Mackay went on down the line, and it's all in the judges' hands. And once again, we're glad we're not the judges today.
Well, I'm going to make Matt Bemrose play judging role.
Well,
in your opinion?
At the start of the heat, you got to remember there's no priority. Once these guys didn't have priority, I'm sure Mackay was looking at Dusty going, he's going backdoor for sure. And then Dusty really wanted the pipeline. He wanted the pipe, and Mackay had already committed to the wave. And you know, it is in the judges' hands, but you got to think, okay, was there an interference there? Could have Dusty pulled in? Could have he made that barrel?
Usually if there is any sort of option, they've got to give the surfer that's deepest the benefit of the doubt that he could have pulled in. They can't guess whether he wanted to straighten out or not. If there was any hindrance to scoring potential in their mind, they'll make a call as we check out Tommy Whitaker's beautiful ride of backdoor, Riddle.
Oh, he just slotted himself in there, did a little pump in the barrel, came out the top and went over the back going, I'm at pipe today having fun.
Still swinging. Jamie O'Brien gets a quick barrel at pipe, fades that last section to get back into the pit on the inside corner. He's got a little hot pocket ride on the inside. He'll go down. O'Brien starting early, but now 17 minutes to go. Still waiting for an update from the panel on the decision with the wave from Dusty and Mackay McNamara to kick off this heat with 16:50 to go. Let's see what happened on Jamie's wave, Bemmy.
Yeah, Jamie O'Brien really wanted to get his campaign started early. We've seen a lot of his heats before the quarters and round of 32 and 64. He didn't get his campaign started up until the 10-minute mark almost. And I guess now the waves are really starting to turn on. He wants to start this thing early, especially with the caliber in this heat. Tommy Whitaker dropping that 8. And just watch Jamie. It's just a pleasure to absolutely watch him take pipeline apart.
It's so true. When you watch Jamie O'Brien, he set the benchmark for years and years. As you see him thread this one on the inside as well, oftentimes he'll make those little bonus sections that are really hard to make. And I was just having a chat with Ross Williams, who's finaled out here in the Pipe Masters in the past. And one of the things he was getting a kick out of is watching Jamie O'Brien and Kelly Slater before they take off. They're always setting themselves up before anyone else in the pack knows where to sit. He said that's how they put themselves in a league of their own when it comes to taking over pipeline.
Yeah, they both do, and I think John's in that school as well now, and they can just I've seen Kelly get waves that I didn't even see coming, and I'm just astounded. But you know, those three guys are the best at that, and the critical drops they take backside are as critical as anyone's ever done in the history of surfing.
As we see this beautiful view here at Pipeline, you're watching the Volcom Pipe Pro. All the local kids here on hand watching the world's best compete for 3,000 points on the QS. Swinging now and trying to slow down is Dusty Payne. And he will come flying out. So a nice vision there for Payne to get his best wave of the heat so far, baby.
Yeah, that was a good wave. Look how comfortable he was inside that barrel. Really, that was a beautiful little one. Not one of those big outside sets, but one of those ones that came in and hit the reef. Watch Dusty just set it up. Big bottom turn here, just putting the brakes on. You watch his leg, just nice and vertical on that lip. Almost looked like a stationary wave there for a minute.
Love how he stalls right there. He's just trying to get ultra deep. How well did he do to maximize his scoring potential?
Just as good as he could, you know, do. He stayed way back there, and then he started playing with the foam ball, just messing with it. Like, okay, I'm feeling you, and then bang, got a little ahead of it, did the slip, and came out, and that should be a pretty fun score.
So we saw Dusty take off straight now, 0.67. This might be a situation on that earlier exchange. We might not get a call for interference. We haven't heard it yet. It's been a few minutes, and it could have been that Mackay had plenty of room to take off on that first wave. We'll keep you posted on updates, but right now it looks like a clean slate. McNamara, 3.17 start, backed it up with a 2.0. Tom Whitaker, the huge start with an 8.53, and Jamie O'Brien waiting. Just as I was saying, it might be a clean slate. The interference is locked in on Mackay McNamara from that last wave. We see now him with a 3.17 total, meaning that second scoring wave is completely wiped out. Bemi, this is super heavy to take in with an interference call with priority. Now he has to try to advance to the final with one scoring ride.
Well, we know what he's looking for. He's looking for a 10. So basically, if Dusty drops around that mid-range score of 5, he's going to need basically a 10. You got to think today as the semi-finals go on, these totals are getting a lot higher and higher. So it's going to be super hard for him, we'd have to think at this time. As you see Dusty Payne just on a long one at backdoor there. Is he going to come out? Look at this thing. I tell you what, he travelled for so long then.
That was enormous. That was just a double up. We're checking to see if he's good. His board looks good. He looks good. He's going to probably take a thug on the head, but he did some travel time in that thing.
That was incredible. Stayed wide open. He had a ton of room, traveling through a time machine, going through backdoor sections. 0.67 start. Mackay McNamara with the interference drops down to third. O'Brien starts was a 5.67. That'll take him to second. How close was Dusty from making this one, Riddle?
He was close. He slowed down, and you know he's pumping like heck in there. And he's trying to find that dragon door right there, as Bimmy has so brilliantly put it. And the dragon door just breathed some fire and shut down on him there, I'm afraid.
Well, Riddle, that backdoor section has been such a huge part of crowning champions of Pipeline over the years. When did it really first start playing a role at pipe events? Because as we know, it really was about getting barreled on the left in the early years.
Yeah, it was a lot about getting barreled on the lefts, and then, you know, the guys were learning how to go backside crazy and come out. Michael Ho and Dan Kealoha were kind of the forerunners of that, and then it went on to evolve to Kelly and then Andy and Bruce and now John and everyone. But, you know, just kind of recently it's really gotten into the big rights where it's crazy big. I mean, a couple of Andy shootouts with Kelly have been crazy on big rights with Bruce in that mix too.
As we see Tommy Witz dropping into a solid one once again, no room to pull in, but still hanging on to his lead courtesy of the 8.53 locked in at backdoor. Whitaker has been kind of this fun story to talk about. We talk about all these Hawaiians proving themselves. We're talking about the usual suspects in pipe with John, Jamie, Bruce, Kelly. Then you got a guy, Tommy Whitaker, who's been in select defense. I mean, besides this one more recently, I mean, how solid was Tommy Whitaker at Sakurema last season? He went all the way to the final series.
Well, that's it with Tommy. Like, he hasn't got too many weaknesses in his arsenal. Like, he's got a massive backhand, just a crazy forehand on the face. He's not really known to do airs. I think I've seen him go for one in his life, but put him in big barrels, mate, and he will prove himself. And as we've seen time and time again, like today, you can't count him out. And he's a force to be reckoned with, especially he could be the sleeper in the final.
Well, you can see Tommy's career. He's had great heats with Kelly. Already waiting in the final is Slater and Bruce Irons. You start thinking about Bruce with his whole career. We haven't seen him in a major pipe final in about a decade. You go back to his last couple Pipe Masters finals, 04, 05. Bruce was getting third and fourth in that one, but now to be able to celebrate a role for Bruce with a chance to take out another title in 2016 is incredible, Riddle.
It is. It's been a journey and a long one, but he's such a fixture here. He's just incredible, and this is his strength. Big, steep, hollow man waves, and fully capable of doing it and dialed into his equipment, and just the man to be watching right now. It could be another Bruce win here at Pipe. It'd be incredible.
Well, this house has a lot of amazing memories. As you can see, everybody cooling off. It's the best vantage point to watch the action here at Pipeline. Slater taking it all in, looking nice and relaxed as he is ready to try to take out a major event. Maybe the whole story with Kelly on the CT was the lack of wins in the last couple of seasons on tour, which is very un-Kelly-like when you think about it. But this could definitely springboard him into some momentum this season. A solid attempt at Pipeline and almost popping out the other end, Bemmy. Who do we have there?
That looked like Dusty Payne just trying to get through that, but it was just too much water coming down to him. He's just going to check his board there, and it looks like it's all good. JS making those things a little bit thicker, a little bit stronger, but yeah, he really wanted to punch through that thing. Obviously, Dusty is sitting on a 4, and he's only got that 1.83, so he really needs that backup. Just look how pretty that wave is.
Oh, it's beautiful, and he put himself back there again, dragged it, stuck it, popped it, and ran a bit there. He's traveling. He got sucked up the face a little bit, and he got lipped.
right at the tail end of that ride for Dusty Payne. He gets picked up by the foam ball and ends up being complete. His best wave so far, a 4-point ride, is keeping him in second place. But just mentioning top shapers on the move, we kind of always stick with the shapers at Pipe that are really well known. Takoro, Glenn Pegg, to create amazing weapons that people have taken to victory. And then also Australian shaper JS has been on such a serious role, especially in hollow conditions. We think about the Fiji Pro last year with what Jeremy Flores did, Julian Wilson, Owen in the final. Also with Wilson winning the Pipe Masters 2 years ago, he's figured out a secret formula to get guys out of the barrel and getting big numbers.
Well, I guess it all comes down to who's he got on his team. Like, imagine the feedback you'd be getting from those kind of guys. Like, it'd be amazing. And also, JS ain't no stranger to riding waves. Speaking of waves, look at this huge thing.
Oh, this is crazy.
On fire, showing a lot of emotion after getting an interference on priority to kick off this heat. He knows it's going to come down to one wave, and that might help his cause to move into the top 2. It was one of the bigger sets, Riddle. We'll see how the score comes through.
That was incredible. And like you guys mentioned, he's going to need a 10, or close to it in this case. And he sat out in the back and waited for it, and stuck this turn, stuck the drop, stuck the turn, stood up in the barrel, came out, and he was pretty excited there, I'd have to say.
What about the commitment Mackay McNamara has shown on that drop? Just the presence of mind to keep holding his rail. I thought he was going to jump then, but like we said before, for him to really make an impact on this heat, he's going to have to go big. And I tell you what, he just proved everyone just then. He went big.
Absolutely massive. Looking into the barrel with Mackay just brings you back to so many memories of his father, Liam McNamara, just charging the biggest waves out here. I remember talking to Liam back in the day in California, and he handed over his business card, and it was a 25-foot face wave and pipeline. I was like, wow, what a cool thing to put on your business card. One of the best pipe specialists, and he's been able to pass all that info down to his kids, and Mackay could pull off some heroics by moving on to the final with one whole wave taken away, Riddle. 2-game system. It might even happen. Mackay McNamara goes all the way to the lead with the perfect 10.
Wow, wow, wow. You know, what about that? You get an interference and then you just go, you're going to throw it all away and just charge. And it came out with one of the biggest drops and one of the biggest barrels of the event, and he deserved every part of that 10.
He did, and we said that that's the only way he's going to get out of this heat, and I was, I thought, oh, okay. But then he dropped anchor out there, caught the bomb of the day, pulled in, came out, and that's a happy kid right now. And I was going to say, there he goes again, just, that's insane. He's just so back, so deep, spit out, amazing drop and composure inside that thing. And I was thinking, well, we'll at least be able to say that, he had a great run, because he did. And this is icing on the cake for the kid.
Just to get that motivation to push yourself even further to get a 10. Electric is going to hand him $1,000 for that 10-point ride. Style that performs. Well, Bemi, we started talking about comebacks with interference calls, and when surfing was in the top 3 system, it almost seemed more doable. We saw more comebacks because you needed more waves back then. When it changed the top 2 game, it almost seemed impossible, especially when it's a priority interference and you lose a whole wave.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy. You got to think, especially Pipeline being this good, and to only get a 10, especially with the caliber that's out there right now in Jamie O'Brien, Tom Rick, and Dusty Payne, for 2 waves, all they need is 2 5s. And here we have the heat recap, and it's been an absolute doozy of a heat, boys.
Recapping a 10, perfect 10. Style that performs from Electric. Riddle, what makes this a perfect ride for you?
So deep, so out the back, patience, confidence, and composure in a big, giant, gnarly pipe barrel.
It's one place when you see the claims and the excitement. That's one of our favorite parts. To get that feeling and the rush of a wave like that, you want to see the emotion. I think claims has been a funny topic to talk about around the world and in CTs trying to get the score. But maybe when we see it here at Pipe, it feels like the most natural expression to share with the world what they just went through.
Well, you've been talking about claims when the guy needs a 4 and they're on the beach just claiming after they do a couple of snaps and a bit of an air reverse on the inside and they get that 4-5. But I tell you what, Pipeline, to take off on a wave like that, and to put yourself over that ledge and get that kind of barrel and get blown out, knowing you got the interference. He didn't do that to try and get the score. He did that with pure emotion.
Well, let's now check out the electric heat recap to see how Mackay McNamara took the lead. We saw things get underway very early. Mackay took off, got a 3.17. Everything seemed fairly normal. Then Whitaker locked in an 8.53 to set the tone.
Yeah, Tommy got deep and just pitted long distance at the back door. Tommy wins.
Then things continued. Dusty Payne got a beautiful vision of pipeline, popped out for a 4-point ride, Demi.
Yeah, that's Jamie O'Brien on that one, and then he just tried to get a little bit more through that inside. Jamie getting that 5.67. Here's that interference at the start that was quite unfortunate, but Dusty really did want to go pipe. I'm sure they're friends. They would have been talking about it out the back, but it was Mackay at the end there who really pulled it all off with that 10, and this is the wave here. This is just quite amazing.
Solid wave, one of the bigger ones of the afternoon, and Mackay with total control. As we look in a cavern, that thing went wide, and he traveled with a lot of speed, and he lets everything out.
He wants a 10.
To save some of that, Riddle, if he's going to move into the final. Mackay is a huge part of the story here in Pipe, and you know, he's already taken out John Florence. He has a 10. Things are looking pretty solid for the kid at this stage.
At 2 minutes and 20 seconds, the boys better get busy here because the guy with the interference is getting out of the heat.
Well, you already knew that with Kelly and Bruce waiting in a final, how hectic this semifinal was going to be. I mean, just to be included in a Pipe final with those two names would have all four of these guys rushing to get the barrel of their life.
Wow, you're exactly right, Joey, there. Just to have a final with those two guys and have an opportunity to beat those two guys, it's once in a lifetime.
And Jamie O'Brien is sitting in fourth at the moment, had the 5.67. He's been kind of doing this a lot through a lot of his heats. Kind of like Bruce, turning his heats around with 1 minute to go. What's with O'Brien and Bruce being so similar with those come from behind victories?
They're just composed, and they're confident that they're going to sit out that back, and they know the place well enough, and they're going to scrape it up, and whatever it needs, they're going to get it, and it could very well happen.
We often talk about the story of getting a cover shot in a magazine compared to the feeling of winning a prestigious contest and what feels better in their career. You think about O'Brien, who was one of the most decorated athletes 10 years ago, especially here at Pipe, but having that feeling not come to you for a while because he's not in that many events, you kind of hear how hungry he is to get that win again. Emmy, you know, and this 55 seconds is putting a lot of pressure on O'Brien.
Yeah, well, look at O'Brien here just stroking into this one. Only needs that small score, and I tell you what, if anyone knows how to ride a barrel and get out of it, it's Jamie O'Brien with a big old float at the end. He just put a big nail in that coffin.
That's exactly what we talked about. He's just confident that it's coming with a few seconds left. He's looking for a small score, and I'm sure he's going to get it.
A 3.7 is what O'Brien needs to get into the top two. More waves on the way, though. Whitaker knows that his position is in jeopardy, but this is Dusty now looking for a 5.37 at backdoor.
And the Dragon Door got him there. That was a picture.
A close one there for Payne. 10 seconds on the clock. A final effort off the back from Mackay McNamara to lock this one in. We're into the countdown and waiting for the decision on who's going to be in the Volcom Pipe Pro Final in 2016. McNamara getting the priority interference to start, then got a 10 on his very next wave to take the lead. Jamie O'Brien needed a 3.7 and waited to catch his wave at 45 seconds to go. Bemmy, easy call for you to put O'Brien in second?
Well, it's not an easy call, Joey. I mean, we've seen 3.7s all day, guys getting absolutely slotted and kegged. I mean, a 3.7 anywhere else in the world, yes. At Pipeline, you know, maybe not. I mean, you've got to say, he did get barreled. He came out to a good turn. I mean, I think it's right there. And to be honest with you, I'm going to say he just got it.
So thinking like it was just enough to turn it. Riddle, are you with Bemmy?
I'm on the same exact page as Bemmy. It is right there. It's not way under. It's not way over. It is right there.
O'Brien waiting for the decision. And there it is, a 4.67. Jamie O'Brien goes all the way to the win in semifinal number 2. And Mackay McNamara stays in second to move on to the final as we're steps away from crowning a champion. The final is right around the corner here at Pipeline.
Wait, what the f is this? Let me guess. Extreme sports commercial. Attitude, hang time, butts, more butts. What happened to all the renegades of tomorrow just looking for, well, tomorrow? Crack the door. Peek in.
Every year, there is a call that brings 24 Titans from around the world to compete in surfing's premier big wave event on the biggest and best day of the season.
It just beats the lip into a steep drop. It's so technical, so difficult.
The waiting period is open. Titans of Mavericks. Watch it live only on Red Bull TV.
It's about 3:15 local time here in Hawaii as the celebration is on the beach for Mackay McNamara. What a come-from-behind effort to make the final, the Volcom Pipe Pro. Got an interference, got his one wave taken away and decided, well, I might as well get a perfect 10,000 bucks from Electric and move on to the final alongside Jamie O'Brien, Bruce Irons, Kelly Slater, Joe Turpel with Richard Wolcott, Matty Bemrose as we anticipate this big Final Four clash. We have all-time conditions. We've got some of the most prestigious pipe surfers in history. Guys that have won big events like Kelly, Bruce, and Jamie over the years have been all over this lineup. And then we see an opportunity for a young Hawaiian to take his first ever victory here, Wooly. Can Mackay do it against those three big names?
Well, you know, I wouldn't rule him out. I mean, you just saw what he did in that last heat, what he's done through the whole event. He's obviously become very comfortable with pipe, and he's putting on some great performances. And we knew that there would be there would be somebody outside of this big lineup that would make their way to the final. And we've got an up-and-comer in Mackay, and you know he's worked hard to get here, and I wouldn't count him out. I mean, he's got some big shoes to fill with Jamie, Bruce, and Kelly, but it's anybody's game out there with how good it is.
So just seeing the rest of the crew out in the back from that last semifinal, Tommy Whitaker will be getting a ride in. We just have a little bit of a break before we get the final underway. So Kelly, Bruce had a little bit of a break, so they're already ready to go, but we need to give Mackay a little bit of a chance to catch his breath. And how's Jamie O'Brien, Bevy? 40 seconds on the clock and ended up taking the big win leading up into this heat. Let's go through the criteria leading up into this final, Bevy.
Well, you got to think the commitment and degree of difficulty. That's the one they're really looking at. The other ones are combination major maneuvers, no. Speed, power flow, no. It's just that first one, commitment, committing yourself to that wave, committing yourself to the drop, degree of difficulty. How difficult was to ride that barrel? How deep were you in that barrel? And here we have the scale. 1.9. I tell you what, there's been a few big scores that were 1.9s and 10. I tell you what, this event, for me alone, I felt like there was about 10 10s.
They celebrate every ride, even the bomb drops out the back that don't get big barrels. Sometimes they're small scores, but we love rewinding the tape and watching every moment. We see Mackay just trying to hydrate really quick. We knew this was going to be a taxing finals day, Willie.
Well, yeah, I mean, look how quick, they put him back out there, and we talked about this morning. I mean, it's going to come down to kind of your physical endurance. Whoever made this final has been through a lot of heats today. We've had a full day starting at 8 a.m. A lot of these guys have served multiple heats, and so it's going to be kind of that physical endurance. Can you put another, how long is this final? Is it 30 or 35?
We're going to get the call from Marty Thomas, I think, right now. Let's ask him the official time for the final. Is he standing by right now with Tina Dixon?
Well, first and foremost, let's get the official time for you, from you for the final.
30-minute final, Tina. The surf's been firing all day. We've been running 25 minutes, the whole competition. There's been so many waves. All four surfers are getting plenty of opportunities. We're going to do a 30-minute final. The waves are absolutely perfect right now. It's 8 to 12 foot, perfect winds, as good as Pipeline can be. We've had 2 great days. so blessed here at the Volcom Pipe Pro, and it's going to be a great final.
You know, I've been watching you walk around pacing back and forth. What's going through your mind, though? I mean, it's been a stressful weekend to finally have this.
Well, it is. I mean, as a contest director, you want every surfer to have a fair opportunity. You want everyone to get big scores, and it's just not always the case, but it's been really rewarding today just because the surf is so good, and we're seeing some great surfing. We got Mackay McNamara, who unfortunately got an interference. We just got a perfect 10. We've had 10s, we've had great waves, and so it's really thrilling. It's fun to be working with the Volcom guys. I mean, this is our 7th year, and I'm really passionate about it, but they're really passionate about this event as well. And to have it be so successful like today, it's just awesome.
We've seen some phenomenal surfing, guys, but we still have the finals.
Thank you very much, Tina, as we're anticipating fireworks from this 4-pack. 4 names that are huge at pipe. Mackay's name is building every season the last couple of years. O'Brien, former pipe master. Bruce Irons won events out here in the past. Kelly, the best of all time, all going through a big clash, but it wasn't all easy along the way. Starting with Bruce Irons, he had an interesting road all the way up to this stage. He had so many moments where his back was against the wall, Bemmy, needing a score in the final minute to turn it around.
And he does it. He's done it and done it again. So that's why you cannot count him out. I mean, this guy has got some clutch on him this event. Every time he'd be waiting for a set, come down in 20 seconds, 30 seconds, and he's pulled a rabbit out of the hat.
Bruce Irons, big wins in the round of 64 all the way through, and just picking perfection on road to this final.
Well, yeah, and I think, you know, part of it is he's been injured too, and I think sometimes when you've seen surfers in competition that have a little injury, it's like they push through and it does something, it pushes them even harder, and we've seen it all the way back to Michael Ho when he had the broken wrist and had the cast on his hand. So Bruce has got a little magic going right now, and right with Bruce, you know, Kelly has definitely turned up the heat. He had a couple of questionable heats where he wasn't happy with his performance, but those last couple of heats he came on, and I know he's chomping at the bit for more of this final.
We talked about never wanting to peak too early. Kelly always saves his best for finals day, just toying with the foam ball. Got into the excellent range a few times on road to the final on a big finals day, as Kelly, Bemmy, is always the man to beat.
Well, Kelly, I tell you what, talk about gears in a clock. He knows how to do it. You know, he'll start in 3rd gear, 4th gear, 5th gear. Is he going to go to 6th gear right now, boys? I think he will.
Pushing the limits every time he enters the lineup with equipment and performance. Slater and Bruce came through that first semifinal. We'll let Bemmy enjoy this one from the Volcom house, and he's going to really help with the barbecue as well. Make sure everyone's well fed next door, and bring back in Sal Masekela for this heavyweight bout. 30 minutes. We just heard the horn sound. These guys will be scored on their top 2 rides. Slater in red, Bruce in blue, Jamie O in white, Mackay McNamara wearing the black jersey. As Sal is getting set, I just want to put him straight on the hot seat to get into this. Who do you see hoisting that prestigious Warrior trophy above their head?
God, man, there's just been so many storylines this entire deal. I wonder what it's like for Jamie O'Brien, who just had that super emotional battle up and down to like refocus, got that score at the end. He's straight back in there. You know, I watched Kelly just like chow down an avocado, get some nutrients, do some meditation. You know, Mackay might just dark horse this whole thing after that last wave. As weird as that might sound, stranger things have happened.
We love that. I think the fun part about pro surfing, Wooly, is all the great opinions. There isn't one right way. You'll see one guy that loves a quad, one guy that loves the 3-fin setup, longboards, shortboards, different positioning in the lineup, and that's what makes this unpredictable ocean so fun to watch, especially when you have these 4 names in the lineup.
Yeah, well, this is a big final. You've got 3 guys here that have won out here, and you've got a young up-and-comer who's proved himself and worked hard to get to this final. And yeah, who's going to take it? You know, I think it's going to come down to, you know, wave selection, wave positioning, a little bit of luck. You know, one thing that sticks out in my mind is Kelly has not won a contest in a long time. So it'll be interesting to see how Kelly, you know, gets himself in the game here with this 30-minute heat. And I think deep down he wants a win. So, you know, I wouldn't be surprised if Kelly comes out firing and doesn't look back.
It's a big call, Willie. You think the last win was this event for him in 2014. He's been winless ever since. For the most decorated surfer in history, 54 CT wins. He keeps coming to pipe for that motivation, Sal. for this one. It's before the championship tour begins, but it's a wave that still tests him and challenges him, and that's why he deems it as a perfect wave.
Look, the guy's a surf turkey. You know, there's no other reason why when you're about to celebrate your 44th birthday that you're out here fired up. If you look at the way he approached this event the whole time, you see, look at Bruce getting his positioning. He was really slow. He never peaked too early. And it wasn't until today that he started to turn the screws and show a little bit more of that like killer instinct off the bat in the last 2 heats. I like his momentum. Given that he's also fit and he's out of dealing with some of the injuries that he was dealing with last year, but he's definitely fired up. Look, man, Jamie Oak, he could paddle into some second reef bomb and come out switch.
Yeah,
you know,
totally.
Bruce could get some obnoxiously despicable, weird backdoor wave that's not supposed to be there. This is any man's game, and that's what makes this look so exciting. As second reef and third reef continue just to feather out the back.
Yeah, well, speaking of Bruce, you know, what we've seen him do is, you know, some of the contests we've had before out here where he's been in the quarters and semis, he's just missed getting through a heat by not having a backup wave. Where this entire event, he has really turned on the heat towards the end of the heat. So I think if there's going to be a surprise towards the end of the heat, I'd keep my eye on Bruce.
Looks like we could get an opening wave to the final, locking in early. Jamie O'Brien pulls into a round tube on the inside, and he'll get clipped.
What?
Right on the exit.
The work was done. The cheerleaders had run out onto the field.
Maybe there's some nerves in this. I mean, this is a big final here.
Now Bruce packing one super deep. The end section is getting a little bit tricky. Bruce, Jamie, both kicking things off, not quite getting the completions, and now it's up to Kelly and Mackay out the back to set priority.
Well, we'll see what happened to Jamie there. It looked like he had it, and it was something right at the end, just trying to get out of that doggy door. It looks like the lip just got him. I think we're going to get a replay right now.
Checking out the takeoff, Sal. I love when he doesn't grab the rail to start.
Yeah, it's amazing how he can do that no rail, really get that pump. And right when it looked like he was about to sneak out the dragon door, he got hit by the tail of the dragon. Here's Bruce's, you see him there, grab rail weaving, but it never looked like he was going to make that section. It ran off.
No, that was a tough wave for Bruce, but Jamie, yeah, he just got clipped right in the head at the end, and, you know, maybe, I don't know, that was a tough one to get out of, but he'll shake it off, plenty of time. You know, and they're only scored on their top 2 waves, so, you know, with almost 25 minutes left, there's, you know, plenty to go here.
Well, I think the major themes you guys are touching on leading into this final is really like you have some of the best pipe specialists of all time in this final, but the weird part is all 3 of them are long overdue for a win. You're looking at all these guys that haven't taken out an event in a while, as we love the drone footage on the replay. Jonah Shaw driving this one with us, the owner of New Sky Perspectives, a former U.S. Army Black Hawk pilot. That's why these visions are coming through crystal clear, Sal.
I imagine this has to be way more fun and less stressful
yeah.
than being a Black Hawk pilot. He's like, yeah, I get to just show people this perspective overhead. I mean, my favorite part, definitely not the favorite part of the surfers, but the favorite part from those overhead shots is the complexity of the reef. What lies beneath is no joke.
No, because most of the time from these shots, you don't get to see that.
No.
But overhead, you can see all the cracks in the reef and the different holes, and, you know, kind of how dangerous it really is. And yeah, I'm just looking back on that replay for Jamie, and, you know, he's probably kicking himself right now going, man, I could have powered through that, but what happened?
For sure, and that was his chance for a quick start. So hopefully we'll get more drone footage for you throughout this final. Jonah working closely with Eric Sturman throughout this amazing week here at the Volcom Pipe Pro, scoring all-time conditions yesterday and now peaking on the final with a reinforced swell that came in this afternoon. We started hearing the predictions, so I was like, okay, maybe 145.2. We checked our electric watches and right on schedule. Things started
Right
really
on time. Made Kevin Wallace look like a superhero. We started off this morning joking that it was Groundhog Day because it actually is Groundhog Day. Clearly, someone saw the shadow because this is, I just was talking to Ian Walsh a second ago, and he looked at me and just said, I've never seen pipe this good for competition for such a long extended time. You have windows where you're like, oh, how about during those 3 heats when it pumped and then switched to another phase. But this has just been non-stop opportunities. And as a result, we got to see so many different performances from so many different guys who got to take advantage of what it really means to surf with just 4 humans in conditions like this.
That's the true reward for these guys surfing pipeline. Even when you are at the top of the pecking order, guys like O'Brien, I remember Bruce a couple of years ago saying, hey, the only guy I'm not going to paddle for a wave in front of is Derek Ho. You know, he's going, I've put in the time, I've won big events. But even for these guys, just to have room, not worried about free surfers in the way, getting a clear ride is their biggest accomplishment coming into this event.
Yeah, it was interesting. I talked to Balaram this morning, who went out after the contest last night, and he just goes, it's like surfing a different place when you've got a crowd out there versus just 4 guys. He goes, you know, 80% of the battle when it's a free surf is just trying to get a wave out there. And so interesting perspective coming from him. And, you know, so for conditions like this, you got 4 guys out, you know, it doesn't happen very often.
Kelly last night paddled out, didn't get a wave for an hour and 15 minutes.
Yeah, Balaram told me he caught 1 wave, rolled in, went straight. And he was kind of like, you know, it was kind of like, yeah, I got one.
Looking at 20 minutes ago in the Volcom Pipe Pro Final for 2016, Jamie O'Brien leading with a 2.83, Bruce Irons with a 1.33. We're talking about moments in history at Pipeline just before, but this one's happening right out in front of us. Wrangling a radical takeoff and making the exit is Mackay McNamara. It is a coming-to-age performance at Pipeline, and Mackay is not rattled by the big names of the sport.
Well, I'm not sure who had priority right there, but he just got that wave underneath that whole crew of guys, and he is feeling the groove right now.
It was really up to Mackay or Kelly for that wave, since we already had a ride waiting from Bruce and Jamie. Let's have a look, Sal.
Look at the negotiation of those weird up chops on the drop. Look, once, twice, he could have been done.
Well, it looks like he kind of ollied down on that last one. We'll see what happened when we get a different perspective there, but a very well-ridden wave, and he's fired up.
That was a stone face to the beach.
Oh, he's not messing around, man.
In his earlier interview, he said, I've been surfing this event since 2010, and he said, I've grown up and matured and learned a lot in the last year dealing with injuries, etc. This is the time that I really feel like I've grown up and I understand better what I need to do.
Yeah, well, it's clear he's having his breakout performance right now, and it's exciting, and he's going to throw a solid score on the board right now.
We've got the Mackay support crew on hand. Mason Ho, Michael Ho in the distance there. We saw Chris Ward. He was one of the great performers of this event. McNamara locks in an 8.67 to take the lead here in the final of the Volcom Pipe Pro. Jamie O'Brien to second, Bruce to third, and Kelly still scoreless, but he does have priority with 19 minutes to go. Mackay has to be laughing at this accomplishment just to be able to survive a semifinal with a priority interference, to get a 10 to turn that one around. You already think he has a lot of reason to celebrate, but to go on to win, Sal, would be incredible.
Be nuts. He never made it to the quarters before. And
well,
here he is in the final.
Well, I'll tell you what, I mean, look at that score he just put on the board, 8.67. That's a big score, and that's, you know, he backs it up with another one, and he's in contention to win the contest.
Kelly getting started, locks in at pipe. This wave breathes on him, and he is out of there. He said his lips were still tingling from the wave that spit him out over 20 minutes ago, and he's already racking up more tubes. Locking in now, O'Brien saw.
Wow. Well, he didn't like that one, just ejected and got out of there, and he's got a couple more sets coming in, so hopefully he can get right back out. But yeah, just when you think things went quiet, you know, Kelly's going to pick up a big score for that one.
Kelly waited a long time, let about 11 minutes off the clock before getting underway. His first win out here was against Mackay's father back in 1992. Now Kelly surfing against the next generation. As you said, Sal, coming up to his 44th birthday pretty soon.
There's a reason why you're the Joe Buck of surfing, my friend, because you are Encyclopedia du Surf, putting it in perspective. And that's just classic Kelly, locking in there, making it look very, very easy. It was not an easy wave to negotiate.
No, but he surfed it beautifully. Look at this free fall drop, Jamie. That was just a nuts way to enter that wave. And comes in, looked down the line, and just said, I'm over this thing.
Yeah, he pulled the ripcord.
Wow, what a great shot. We could see what happened there.
Looked like his board almost hit him in the back.
Interesting part about that for Jamie, that was a controlled wipeout, as you call it. He wasn't thrown by the wave upside down, pin drop, feet first to sneak underneath that beast of a wave. O'Brien always talks about respecting this wave, but sometimes it looks like he can do whatever he wants. We always used to talk about that idea of switch stance eventually taking over in surfing, and Jamie was one guy that had this wave so dialed, he'd switch to goofy foot on his way out of the barrel and pipe.
Personally, I don't understand how, if a guy goes switch on a heavy wave, why he doesn't get scored accordingly in surfing. I still feel like in surfing it's sort of thought as someone's playing around, but go ahead and try and pull into a barrel switch at pipeline and get back to me.
And we've seen it like in skateboarding and snowboarding. It's recognized and it's judged accordingly because it's more difficult.
And it doesn't really happen too often. You think about some surfers back in the day that were pretty skilled at it. You go back into the early days of surfing, guys would mess with switch. As we look at an opportunity doubling up.
Whoa.
Look at that thing.
Oh man, that would have been just a free fall drop to like a 2-story building. Whoever that was that
Kelly.
That was Kelly paddling?
That was Kelly, and that would have been a board caddy situation.
He didn't want any part of that one.
No.
You can see that thing going below sea level. We have this reinforcing swell kind of doubling up. It's got a lot of west in it, which is making a lot of these waves be able to chip in, but that one was straight down. And Kelly probably made a smart decision since that first number, well, it came in at a 7.83, a big
well,
start.
That's a solid score, and I like the fact that Kelly did not go, because that could have changed the game for him. He could have broken his board. He could have missed an opportunity on these next waves coming in. So smart choice for Kelly to not go, because now he's got to work on that 7.83 if he wants to have a shot here to win the event.
Thanks so much to Volcom for putting on a very special event. Electric has been kind of busy, spending some money today on all the 10-point rides as they are the official time of this prestigious event. Setting up this wedge, priority is with Bruce. We might get a split and going straight down. A very scary wipeout as we'll wait for this whitewater to subside. Now moving back.
Wow, that's like falling out of the sky. Who was that?
I think it might be Mackay, as we're seeing the broken board. Mackay McNamara not holding anything back. He's in the safety of the water patrol. And now we'll wait for him to see if he's going to be ready to compete. Just a little shoulder shrug. Talk about total commitment. Already had the lead of this final. And that was one of the most dangerous wipeouts.
Yeah, that
in
was
this contest.
dangerous. He got stuck up on the lip. You can see it right here. And it just free fell all the way down into the depths of that reef. That was a tough one.
Busted stick.
Another broken board on hand for Mackay McNamara as this final is just starting to heat up. Mackay getting picked up by the water patrol, and looks like we'll have some more waves on the way. We're down to the 14-minute mark, and it's a crucial time to get some big scores. Let's see what just happened during that wipeout, Sal.
Yeah, Kelly just rolling in, hitting the e-brake for a second and just getting blown. Napoleon blown apart. And then, of course, I'm just going to try a floater here.
Oh.
That's not good.
That's not good, but I'll tell you what, talking about peaking at the right time, I mean, this wave is solid. And he came out after the spit. He had great positioning when he was taking off. And it's going to be a big score. Now, I don't know about that one, Kelly. That's pretty, that's a roll of the dice right there. It looks like he's all right. Board's still intact, but that's going to be a big score.
He might have taken a little bit of board to the dome there, but hopefully he is okay. That was great. I'm still trying to recover from Mackay's wipeout. I mean, you put it in the perspective, that zone where he fell head first, that's no man's land.
No, that's a worse place to fall because how shallow it is. And, there's not a lot of water where he just fell right there. And the way he did it, he didn't penetrate feet first. So very dangerous way to fall out of the sky. And hopefully he's all right and he'll get back out there.
How old is Mackay?
Mackay McNamara, we'll pull that up for you, Sal. He's a young kid coming from Hawaii, but he's been around for a while, early 20s. We'll get that official number.
The only reason why I asked that is because I go back to what you said about Kelly competing against his dad, and I'm thinking he won a title here at Pipe before Mackay was even born against his dad.
Incredible, and that is definitely true. Mackay went down. Kelly ends up getting an 8.73 on the wave behind him, and now locking in is Bruce Irons. A big, solid drop, not offering too much of a tube, so he'll hop out of there. But I think we just went through that emotional roller coaster, the intensity of Pipe in 20 seconds, from the most scary wipeout you've ever seen from Mackay, and then on the very next wave, the most amazing ride for Kelly Slater.
Well, that was amazing, and that all happened in seemed like just one set. Like the first waves were the forerunners, which Mackay took off on, and then it kind of like pulsed up, and then Kelly grabbed, you know, a big one. He just put a solid score, 8.73 onto the board. So he's got 2 big scores now. 11 minutes left, and you can see right here on the board that now Jamie's sitting on priority, and you can tell he's fired up, going, wait a minute, I need one of these right now.
And just happy sitting behind the scenes is Liam McNamara, the father of Mackay, so proud of his son charging. We just got confirmation from our solid production crew. Mackay just 20 years of age, surfing in the most prestigious final of his young career, pushing the limits against Kelly, Jamie, and Bruce Irons. And you can tell how badly he wants this win.
Oh, yeah. I mean, he's right in the game. I mean, starting off a heat with that score, 8.67, I mean, he only needs one more wave. And, you know, he's got 10 minutes to do it, and he's capable of putting big scores on the board like we just saw in that last heat.
Now looking at Mackay McNamara, he got picked up by the Water Patrol. Board broken clean in half. His body's solid, and he's paddling way down by the beach park. You can see him. He's probably about a football field distance, at least, maybe more, from the rest of the pack. So dealing with what he went through, Sal, and he still has a lot to do to get back in the lineup.
He had to run in, grab a board from his caddy, and now he's literally at the sandbar with another set coming in.
And that's going to take, that's a lot of effort right there, because he's going up against the current. Now, how long do you think that'll be, a minute or two?
Yeah, from the way he's moving, it looks like it's going to be about a minute, but we see a set marching in right now.
Priority is with Jamie O'Brien. He's comboed for the win, along with Bruce Irons. Bruce with 3rd priority, Kelly with the 2nd opportunity. And now making the decision to move. Swinging on this one, locking in nice and low. Bruce Irons, a beautiful line, hangs onto it. The section lands on his head. Another close call to make a completion by that end section. Taking him out, will it?
Yeah, just kind of had a little bit of a corner on it. And, you know, those are tough because, you know, there's kind of rolling the dice. Am I going to be able to get out of this thing? You don't want to waste too much time sitting out the back, so you kind of give it a shot. And unfortunately for Bruce, it just clamped him at the end.
Look at how quick time has wound down in this heat. Somehow or another, we're sitting at 9 minutes and 20 seconds. I feel like we just got in the move.
I think we did. Time traveling.
Well, there's so much going on out here. Yeah, and to your point with time, when I look at Kelly's 2 scores, you know, he's put a lot of work into this heat to have 2 big scores with still 9 minutes left, because a lot of these heats we've seen, you know, end up guys only got 1 score, and he's trying to back it up towards like 2 minutes to left.
Right.
So I take my hat off to Kelly, and for him right now, it's like, okay, can I better this 7.83 so I can get this win?
Thinking of winning, it's that special feeling. O'Brien was able to win the first Volcom Pipe Pro. He won his Pipe Masters title back in '04. In that final, with Sonny Garcia, Kalani Robb, and Bruce Irons was a part of that one. Bruce Irons was able to make back-to-back Pipe Masters finals around that era. In '05, Bruce got 3rd under Mick Fanning, and then his older brother, Andy Irons, the 3-time world champ. Love seeing Bruce run down to the beach, giving that signature spray that his brother used with the rising sun on the bottom of his boards. Think how much this might mean for Bruce, Sal, to be back in a final after over a decade, after retiring from the tour in 2008. And it's really special to watch his form.
It really is, and it's really special when you think about what he probably has had to go through over the last few years since his brother's death. That was a very, very public thing. It's one thing to go through loss, as you see Liam just signaling to his son. It's one thing to go through personal loss when you lose a loved one privately amongst your friends and family. It's a complete other thing to imagine what it's been like for him with the whole world watching. And to go through that process, it's taken time. And this is the first year in a long time where when you look at him and you look at his face, you see that he's his whole self back, and it's definitely showing in his surfing and how much joy he's getting out of life again.
Definitely one of the greatest things we're celebrating through the story of the Volcom Pipe Pro, locking in on the backhand. Jamie O'Brien just traveling through this tunnel of pipe, trying to slow down to get deep. Right in the pocket through the backwash and gets the completion.
Oh, man.
Well, he waited a long time for that wave, and it was a beauty. I like the end. He just never gave up, and yeah, what a way. You know, right when you think you're looking at somebody else's scores, you know, here comes Jamie using his priority and took advantage of it. He's going to put a big score on the board again.
That was a dream weaver.
It just kept on going, but how deep did he go? I was thinking of scores, Willie. How'd you like to take off?
Well, it just was a beautiful wave. You can see he's just trying to keep himself slowed down. Didn't get super barreled off the bat, but right in here he gets a little pit. And, you know, it'll be interesting to see what the judges give this. I mean, he did everything he could. Look at this drop right here.
See him slowing down. And if Jamie's in the pocket, it's probably about as deep as you can get. With all the water moving underneath his board, he was doing everything he could to put on the brakes.
Yeah, and I think the beginning of that wave was the most critical part of it. So, yeah, we'll see. We're waiting for that score.
6 minutes on the clock, and Sal is shaking in his seat because he just spotted Whitewater capping the third reef out the back with now anticipation on a set. Just setting up this lineup. 5:50 to go. Priority is with Kelly. He does have the lead. He's looking to it for a 7-8-3. He might be swinging on this first wave, Sal.
Yeah. Sal, what do you, I mean, you know what? What's going through these guys' minds right now? Because some of them are really good and some of them cap and roll through.
You know, Kelly, he's gonna do his best not to waste the priority. He's probably gonna do his best to do some selling if he can. We'll see what Mackay, with that second priority, we talked about that maturity factor, whether or not he'll stay focused in his own lane for the wave that he needs. But, you know, they don't call him a wave salesman for nothing. But either way, things are about to get super, super weird.
Checking out a wave at backdoor. Jamie O'Brien locks in nice and deep. Casual exit. Ryan's wave before, a 4.27, wasn't enough to break the combination, so he needed to happen there. Here goes Kelly Sell.
Well, that's what I get. Oh, how's that turn? Is he gonna get a barrel now on the back end? Oh.
Oh, wow. Well, he opted for that wave, and he got a good snap off the top and hooked it right into the barrel, and then they got a big wonk of just a wedge that came at him and bucked him off his board. So, you know, didn't really probably produce what he was looking for, and it'll be interesting to see what Jamie gets, because, you know, Jamie rolled the dice and then took that set on the head.
Yeah.
Very interesting situation with 4:10 to go. Welcome to Water Replay. Love that. Just drawn to the barrel at backdoor from Jamie O'Brien. So
how pretty is that thing? Just got in early, locked and loaded, made it look easy. And how's this guy? I'm like, whoa, what's up, Tom Carroll? I saw that you were here. I just wanted to show you I appreciate your turns at pipe. And then this thing just gets heaved on that end section of the reef.
Yeah, it's too bad Kelly didn't come out of that, because it would have been cool to see what the judges think of a big upside down hack like that and then a nice little barrel at the end. That was a cool wave. It's a bummer he got bucked off.
I imagine he probably saw something in that set, in the direction of that set, that made him feel safe enough that, okay, I'm going to go and not feel threatened by Mackay and Bruce out the back.
Well, this is a big deal because Kelly, by going, he just gave priority to Mackay. We got 3.5 minutes left. We've still got waves out the back, so now all the pressure is put on Mackay's shoulders. You know, let's see how that maturity kicks in right now, and how that experience is going to kick in for him in a big heat, big final. 3 minutes left.
Well, Mackay McNamara locked in an 8.67 start and got the entire beach to applaud that performance, and then maybe took the scariest wipeout we've seen in this final head first on one of the biggest sets of the day. Picked up by the Water Patrol, had a few minutes ahead of him to paddle back out. Now he's sitting with priority, waves out the back, needing a 7.9 to win the biggest event of his young career against the biggest names.
You know, physically, he's got to be somewhat cooked, but this is where that youth and that adrenaline, you got to summon it. You saw him take a little break there at the end after that long paddle that sort of looked like he was trying to gather himself. You saw Liam with the towel going, come on, boy, get back in there. And now, like you said, Wooly, maturity, if he gets the opportunity, what is he going to do with it here with 2 minutes and change left to go? What a lineup of guys in this heat, all incredible stories.
When you look at Bruce Irons, that major win he had in his career in Indonesia in a heat with Freddie Pataccia Jr., they were laughing, they just enjoyed the lineup together, and Bruce said that was still going to be a send-off from competing at that top level. We love his movie parts, but it's just extra special when he's in a final at Pipe. This is where everything came together for him as a teenager. The 98 final that he almost won against Jake Patterson just kind of set the tone for his destiny. And now recovering into this moment and late in his career, swinging now on this first wave, Bruce Irons with a beautiful vision.
Yeah, just another beautiful pipe wave for him. He gets a good barrel, comes out, and then kicks out. You know, I think for Bruce it was like, hey man, let me just get back in this game a little bit. You know, not a lot of time left, so I think he had to take that wave no matter what.
Minute 20 to go. Kelly said he wanted to be in a final with guys like Jamie, Bruce, and to settle the score here at Pipe. Looks like he's getting closer to that winning feeling, Sal.
This is cool, and it's weird, and I feel like something's going to happen here in this last minute. But you're right for Kelly for these last 2 years, where people, it's been close. It's not like he hasn't had a lot of opportunities. He's been almost there. But perhaps with how much he's had going on in the past year and a half, this is now his time to refocus a bit, especially with these new boards.
Having a look is Slater, Sal.
Oh my goodness, did you see that bottom turn? Is he going to get blown out of this?
Wow.
That was nuts.
That was radical. He just left. He left Mackay out the back with priority. Kelly felt that, you know, he had to go. He got that underneath. Mackay almost came out. If he would have come out, that would have been a big, big score. But we've got 20 seconds left. Mackay's holding on to priority. There might be another wave coming towards him. It's coming right down to the wire, guys.
Well, Jamie O'Brien put himself back in a position to compete with a 5-6-7. But now we're watching in the final seconds. Mackay, another airdrop head first over the falls to try to steal the win off Kelly in the dying seconds. This kid has already taken big beatings. You can tell how much it meant to him to swing and go for it. As he pops up, we applaud the young Grom from Hawaii, the 20-year-old going for broke. And a big congratulations for Kelly Slater, the champion of the Volcom Pipe Pro in 2016.
Wow, what a final, man. All the way down to the end. I mean, Mackay, it was right there. He was too late for that, but he swung anyway.
The fact that he went anyway, and there was just like no chance. But that is heart, absolute heart.
All right, and you know what? I'm stoked for Kelly. You know, deep down, I know he wanted this win. He hasn't won in a while. You know, he's had some, you know, some hard, you know, times with some of this competitive surfing, and it's good to see him with win. And you can see on the screen right here, hopefully Mackay is okay. Looks like Water Patrol's got him, bringing him in, and hopefully he can get through this. We don't have an injury.
We talk about warrior status at Pipe, and Mackay clearly proved to be fearless. And what an epic charger. We'll keep you posted on McNamara, throwing himself over the falls, over the shallow reef. And now a familiar feeling back for the greatest of all time. Kelly Slater takes his second Volcom Pipe Pro, the current champion here at Pipe. And momentum's a real thing. 2016 might prove to be a special one for the 11-time world champion.
Well stated.
Yeah, well, I'll tell you what, Kelly peaked at the right time, and he put it all on the line in that final. He had a great final. You can see it on his face. He's stoked. He needed this, and Kelly's back.
Early birthday present for a man who's about to be 44 years old.
Well, Sal, it started making us so nervous when there was ideas of him questioning retirement or stepping away from the jersey. We get to witness a guy of this kind of athlete, and he takes top honors once again. Let's hear from him. He's with Tina Dixon.
Yeah, and Kelly, congratulations. There were some tough moments there, some tight moments there in that heat, especially when Mackay had that fall and you had that 8.73. Walk us through that exchange.
Yeah, that one with Mackay and Bruce, they're both paddling, and I don't know who had priority, so I didn't really know what the situation was. I just knew that I was not in the first two. I wasn't the first two in line, so I just kind of steered clear of that one and let them figure it out. I thought Bruce had priority, and I thought they were going to split the peak. And I guess Mackay must have had priority, and Bruce backed off, and then Mackay went over. It looked radical. The wave was so gnarly. And so I thought maybe he got hurt, but he popped up the back really quick, so he kind of was in blue water. But yeah, he got a good start on us. He got that good deep one. He was real patient to start the heat. And I mean, after that 10 he got in the semifinal, that was unbelievable. And that was you know, between him and Jamie, they were battling for a wave of the contest with those two.
Yeah, he showed some heart out there, but this is the beginning of 2016. Is this a time for you to potentially refocus?
Well, it's the first contest I've won in 2 years, so it feels good. It's, you know, last one I won was this one 2 years ago, so I'm stoked. And the waves were just flawless. I mean, that was what you grow up dreaming about, surfing a pipeline as a kid. And man, what can you say? That was an incredible couple days.
You know, pipeline, it's the wave that everyone measures against. There's so much prestige just even surfing here. But when you win an event here, especially in waves like this, I mean, how special is that?
Oh, yeah. I mean, to win this contest is great. It's awesome. You know, John's done it 3 or 4 times. Jamie's done it, I think, a couple times. But, you know, to have these kind of waves, I mean, we were all just hoping to get through heats just to surf the waves again, you know. But, you know, then you get to the final, and then it's all about trying to win. But, you know, I was just patient. Those guys were all going to be really aggressive to start. I said, I'll just be patient. There's enough good waves out here. And a lot of the good waves came in my heats, you know, after the guys had scrambled in the beginning, and then a good one would come. So they weren't necessarily right in the beginning. So I was just going to be patient, and, you know, they came my way.
Yeah, and the waves keep coming, but congratulations on this fantastic win.
Oh, thank you. I'm actually bummed I fell on my last one. That was the best one I had, and I think maybe the whole contest, but it was awesome.
Spoken like a true surfer. Congrats, Kelly. Joe.
Thank you very much, Tina. Kelly Slater, the 2016 Volcom Pipe Pro champion, taking a win here again after a couple of years in between winning events, and it was so great to watch him along the way. We hope you guys enjoyed the show. Wooly, we got to thank you big time for just creating this special event and bringing us here to the Volcom Pipe Pro. You got to be pretty happy with what happened.
Oh, man. I mean, from stepping off, you know, the airplane, coming on to the North Shore, seeing all the guys at the house, the first day, yesterday, today, it's, you know, it's not going to sink in until I probably go back home. It was an incredible event, and congratulations to Kelly and the rest of the competitors, even the guys who didn't make the final. The performances over the last couple of days were unbelievable.
Major moments for you, Sal.
Well, for me, it's just an honor to be back in the booth commentating surfing. It's been a couple of years for me. I obviously have been watching intently, but to be able to have this kind of a draw with, what is it, 112 guys, and see all these different guys have an opportunity to showcase their stuff. These are all guys who, in their mind's eye, they dream of being thought of as the best in the world. And we were able to see some guys show some flair, and you say, like, hey, there's a bunch of guys to watch for. But this has been incredible. Highlight for me.
Yeah, definitely a changing of the guard, and I think we got a glimpse of what's going to be happening in the future out here at Pipeline. So hats off to all the competitors. Very, very impressive display in some gnarly, radical pipeline and backdoor.
That's right. Well, we still have a lot to look forward to. Before we say goodbye, stand by for the podium celebration and the post-show, which includes the riddle of the day. We'll be right back at Pipe after this.
We started the Deep Blue Surfing event program back in 2011 as a challenge to ourselves and to professional surfing. Was it really possible to run a world tour level surfing event in a way that caused minimal environmental impact while also producing a positive benefit for the local community? The relationship with Volcom started back in 2012 with the Volcom Fiji Pro. And that was really amazing because it was a way to actually figure out what works in terms of how to run a more sustainable surfing contest. But it also gave us a platform to start talking about sustainability as something that was incredibly important for surf culture and surf industry itself. And we took what we learned there back to the Volcom Pipe Pro, and that's where we really raised the bar, and we're able to look at all the categories that we had in our standard. We met them and exceeded them, and what's great to see is that this focus towards sustainability for surfing events has been growing and expanding, and it's now taking on a life of its own. I'm truly inspired by the changes that are actually starting to take place now, to see where we are now with sustainability really as part of the narrative now in surf culture as something that's important. That's a dramatic shift. That's incredibly important because the issues and the problems that we actually face are that big. They're that important.
Wait, what the f is this? Let me guess. Extreme sports commercial. Attitude, hang time, energy drinks, tanned guys, butts, more butts. What happened to all the renegades of tomorrow just looking for, well, tomorrow? What started with playing in the water led to standing on water, and before you know it, it's all you can think about. It's simultaneously quiet and unbelievably loud all at the same time. That doesn't make any sense, but it does. Because when you're in it, it's a vacuum of reality. No one to impress but yourself. There's no comments or hashtags, hashtag no comments. Just a siren song that plays on repeat once you've heard its secret chorus. If you know it, then you know it. If you don't, well, you should. Crack the door. Peek in.
Aloha and good afternoon, and welcome to the post show of the Volcom Pipe Pro here in 2016. I hope you enjoyed the ride all the way through. Joe Turpel with Dave Riddle, Vaughn Blakey. This was a very special final. We had so many themes just colliding with the waves here at Pipe, absolutely maxing out. Riddle, starting with you, I know you've seen Mackay McNamara grow up here on the North Shore, and for what he did to go for a win, he left everything on the line. And I know that had to impress the heck out of you.
He was phenomenal today. He worked his way through the ranks. He was down with an interference in the semis. He got a 10 to get into the final, and then he gets in the final with Kelly Slater, Bruce Irons, and Jamie O'Brien, three of the best pipeline surfers in the world. And he's right there with them. And they're all regular footers, boys.
That's right.
They're all grabbing that rail backside.
Even on a swell, which featured a lot of pipe on finals day. Well, Vaughn, then you go to the other three. These are the guys that you're saying will be in the final before the event starts. What did it mean for you seeing Kelly end up on top once again?
Oh, man, I mean, it was just ominous, really. His performance, you know, right throughout this event, he never really clicked into gear until the final. That's where we saw the best of him. That's what he does best when he's on form, and I think it's a real warning shot from Kelly Slater because he's had a few injuries, he's had a lot on his mind, and he's been saying, as we just look at the recap here, oh my goodness, this final was pumping.
It sure was. Mackay McNamara had a crazy ride for the 867. There were steps in the wave. He was dropping up and down, resetting his rail. He got himself in a great position, but then Kelly really started to heat up, Riddle.
Best backside barrel rider ever. And he was in good company because they are in that same book. And the negotiations and the change rail and the grab rail and then adjusting to the spit that was literally, there's 10-foot pipe, so the spit can knock you off your board anyway. And these guys are letting go of the rail with the spit blasting them out of the pit. Near perfect pipe, let's just call it. It was perfect pipe.
It was unbelievable. Also seeing backdoor come into play. O'Brien had some decision making going down, trying to break the combination spot he was in, Vaughn.
Oh man, I mean, these guys wanted it so bad. Dave and I were talking about this before. Not one of these guys paddled out without the win on the mind. You know, no one was out there doing anything but trying to claim that Warrior Trophy. Jamie O put himself in lots of good positions, but just didn't get those big ones like Kelly got. And yeah, unfortunately, had to settle for second on this occasion.
We'll see how Kelly takes this momentum from a win. His last win was here at the Volcom Pipe Pro as he's setting off for another world title campaign on the championship tour. And you think about the Hawaiian roll in this one. Sometimes come the Pipe Invitational, you want the best to be invited. Well, O'Brien secured a spot already. Bruce Irons will be in the Pipe Invitational already. We're looking at fireworks looking down the end of the season, Riddle.
we're looking at fireworks, and we're looking at a group of guys that could upset the whole world and their dreams when they have to meet up with these wild card guys, because these guys are specialists, and given an opportunity, they're gonna score on you, and well deserved too, because the guys that got through this today have proved that they can ride big man pipe and pull it off. They deserve to be in that event.
And seeing Bruce in the final, I think, you touched on that before, Joey, that was a special moment, as you can imagine, especially for everyone who knows his journey over the past few years. He just looks like he's building towards something really special, and it could come in that Pipe Masters at the end of the year, like you say.
Bruce was talking about surfing for himself and going out there for the feeling for himself and not for anybody else, and really learning how to get that back. And the classic rhythm of Bruce was back. We got to relive so many sudden death moments. 1 minute on the clock, back against the wall, and Bruce continued to deliver en route to the final rit.
Composed and confident. He's surfing really good. He's really strong. To go last as long as these guys did today and go 4 or 5 heats to get here today, you got to be in top shape. And everyone that made the final proved they were. And Bruce certainly was a contender all the way. I mean, guys like Bruce and Andy and Jamie, you can never count them out of pipe.
Well, now I think it's time to join the celebration as we'll toss it down to the podium with Bo Hodge.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the 2016 Volcom Pipe Pro Awards ceremonies. How about a round of applause for all the competitors, all yourselves, and especially for the Bonsai Pipeline here today. We'd like to thank our sponsors for making this event such a huge success. Of course, Volcom, Electric, Red Bull and Red Bull TV, FlexFit, Turtle Bay Resort, Future Fins, Waterman Sunscreen, Speakwa, Bonsai Bowls, Mizu, Oceanic Time Warner Cable, Sustainable Coastline, sponsored by the Sun, and Rising Sun Solar. Also, big mahalo going out to the WSL Hawaii, the Hawaiian Water Patrol, KT Productions, Kanaka Solutions, Dr. Leland Dow and the Kai and the Kai Clinic, and the K Nui Kitchen. Well, let's get underway with our awards ceremony. We'd like to acknowledge the Live Like Scion Foundation, and proceeds of all merchandise of the Volcom Pipe Pro go to the Scion Mollusky family. We'd like to have a round of applause for that. Thank you very much. Next up, Electric, one of our great co-sponsors of this event, is awarding Perfect 10 awards that were surfed today on the final day. And coming up, our marketing director for Electric, Mr. Ian Falk.
Thank you so much. Super excited to be here. The last 2 days have been more than anyone could ever ask for. So thank you, Mother Nature Pipeline, the locals, for having us, the staff as well, Kanaka Solutions, and the entire content staff just did a phenomenal job today. So we're proud to actually award some of the guys who charged the hardest. The first Perfect 10 of the day I'd like to bring up to the stage, Jamie O'Brien. Put your hands together for that. Jamie went huge all day, and I've got a check for Jamie for $1,000 presented by Electric, the optics of Ohm. Congrats, Jamie. Well served. Would you like to say anything about your wave?
The waves are firing today. It's a treat, the surf pipeline, especially in that final with all my favorite surfers. Big up to Makai, who's been putting in his work out here, and when he got his 10, I was super stoked for him. I got lucky, but I made it work, and I just did everything I know what to do, and that's all you can do out there. So thank you, Electric.
Our pleasure, Jamie. You guys put your hands together once again for Jamie. He'll be back up on the stage in just a minute. The next warrior of the stage that I'd like to call is a local boy. He put in a huge performance. Put your hands together for Makai McNamara. Makai, $1,000 for you, my friend. Anything you want to say about your experience here today, or the Perfect 10 that you got?
Definitely the best contest ever, and that was definitely the wave of my life, and I'm so happy it happened today in front of all my friends and family, and just really stoked to make the final and get some fun waves.
Well, congrats, you guys. Throw it together one more time. $1,000 presented by Electric. You guys enjoy the rest of the awards ceremony, and we'll call the MC back up to the stage, and congrats to all the finalists.
Thanks a lot, Ian. Jamie O'Brien got his perfect 10 in round number 4, and for Makai McNamara, he got his perfect 10 in the semifinal where he needed that to advance into the final. Next up, Volcom Hawaii Special Products are a great donation to a local charity. And this year, we'd like to bring up Anthony Poponi, the director for the Hawaii Boys and Girls Club of Hawaii. And Richard Wolcott will be presenting a check for $62,500, $62,500 for proceeds. And this is $16,000 more than last year's check. And over the years, Volcom has raised nearly $200,000 in donations to our local charities here locally in Hawaii. Anthony, you want to say a few words?
Yeah, sure. Thank you to Volcom, but thank you to all of you out there that are supporting that brand, because that's the money that's coming back to the Boys and Girls Club of Hawaii and the keiki, who we try to put in water, not like this, but to give them experiences that they've never had before in their life. So this is huge for us. This serves 14,000 kids on Oahu and Kauai. So thank you so much to you all and to Volcom.
Thank you, Volcom. Thank you, Anthony. And how about a round of applause for the Hawaii Boys and Girls Club locally. Next up, this has been a memorial trophy that has been given out since the early years. We'd like to bring up Jeannie Chesser, where our next award is the Todd Chesser Hard Charger Sportsmanship Award. This contest used to be sponsored by HIC, Hawaiian Island Creations, back in the early years, since 1985. And one of the team-sponsored riders who used to compete at the HIC Pipeline Pro for many years used to be Todd Chesser. And Todd was never one of the top-ranked surfers in the world, but he was one of the hardest chargers, one of the toughest competitors ever to compete. And when the waves were big out here in Hawaii or around the world, Todd would find himself out there. And Jeannie Chesser is Todd's mom. Jeannie's involved in the local surf industry here locally. And each and every year for this hard charging sportsmanship award, Jeannie chooses a surfer who dedicates their life just like Todd did in this contest. And Jeannie, we'd like to hear who this year's winner is.
Well, thanks, Bo. First of all, I'd like to thank Volcom for letting me, present this award, and thank you for a beautiful, awesome contest. And the waves were just phenomenal. The rides were amazing, and there's so many guys. It's really, really hard to just pick one, but I've admired this guy's surfing since he was, pretty much a young kid. And he's been through some hard times. I think he's back on the right road right now. And I hope that he continues to just get barreled and have a good time surfing. Surfing is the greatest healer. I'd also like to mention that this trophy is donated by my friend Tiger Mosier from Nanakuli, and he makes these every year. He gives them to me for free, and I get him some board shorts and some Volcom product. So it's all from the heart. So I'd like to present this award to Bruce Irons.
Oh man, I wasn't expecting this. Yeah, Todd Chesser was he was someone I looked up to. I sit out there and you still call those 12-foot waves that no one wants Chesser's waves. And so yeah, this means a lot to me. I really appreciate it. Thank you. Thank you, Volcom, and everyone for this contest. It was a good day. Fully.
We'd like to acknowledge that Bruce Irons is the only competitor to make it all the way from round number 1 into the final. So dedication there from the round of 112, and surfed all 3 days and really earned his performance and this award. Congratulations one more time for Bruce Irons. Next up, we'd like to have a few words from Richard Wolcott. He is the co-founder and chairman of Volcom.
Wow. Well, coming here, you never know what to expect. This is our 7th year in a row here at Pipeline. And coming over here this time, I felt something special was going to happen. And I would have never guessed we would have got waves like this 3 days out of 3. And it was an amazing event with some amazing surfing.
I'm in awe, and I just want to say thank you to the community for all the support, letting us have this event, all of our sponsors, and to everybody who worked so hard behind the scenes to make this happen. And to all the finalists, to Kelly, what an amazing show you put on in the final, and just heat after heat, there were some mind-blowing performances. I want to say Mackay, an up-and-comer who just earned his stripes out here, making the final was huge. So congratulations to him, and thank you everybody for all the support. Everybody out there looking at us around the world on the webcast, thank you for that support, and for all the donations and buying the product to help us support these great programs such as the Boys and Girls Club and the Sion Milosky Foundation. So again, thank you and congratulations to the finalists.
Ladies and gentlemen, one more time for Richard Wolcott from Volcom. Let's bring on our 4 finalists up here. And we'd like to acknowledge the Sion Milosky family. We got Avakea and Soraya over here who will be giving lays to our 4 finalists as they come back up on the stage. How about a round of applause for the Milosky family? Thank you. Three of these 4 finalists are past winners of this event. We truly had the cream of the crop come up and make the final in 2016. This was truly one of the most exciting Volcom Pipe Pros in its history since 1985. In 4th place, receiving a check for $4,250, former 2-time champion. Put your hands together for the man in the blue jersey, Bruce Irons. Third place, receiving a check for $4,750 with a score of 8.9 in the final. Put your hands together for Mackay McNamara from the North Shore. Receiving a check for $10,000, former 3-time champion with a 9.94 score. Ladies and gentlemen, put your hands together for Mr. Jamie O'Brien. Last but not least, receiving his 2nd Volcom Pro Championship, receiving a check for $16,000, the one, the only from Cocoa Beach, Kelly Slater. Let's get a word with our champion, Kelly.
Give him the trophy.
Give him the trophy.
Give him the trophy.
This is the Warrior Trophy, giving out to the winner. And Kelly, hold it high, hold it proud. This thing's heavy. Kelly, this has got to be something special for you. I know Pipeline is one of your favorite breaks. This is your 10th win here at AOKI. If you count your 7 Pipe Masters, your 2 Volcom Pipe Pros, and your shootout win. Since 1992, in 3 different decades, you have won 10 times out here with your 2nd Volcom Pipe Pro. Tell us about this win today.
Well, gosh, what can you say? The Waves were the real star here this week, and you know, we were just lucky to get them. I mean, I think we were all out there kind of scratching our heads going, wow, we actually get paid to surf these waves with only 4 of us out here. So it was unbelievable. I mean, these are the days you live for when you're a pipe guy, and I mean, that's why I wanted to have a house here on the beach when I was a little kid. And I mean, even just to sit here and watch, it's great, but to be out there and get a few is awesome. So thanks to Volcom, thanks to everybody who came down and supported. A lot of support on the beach, everyone with a lot of smiles, and I saw some spectacular waves. The waves these 2 guys got today were ridiculous. And a lot of great surfing, a lot of guys coming out of nowhere, surprising everybody. It was really fun contest to watch and be a part of.
Talk about coming up against Jamie O'Brien, former winner, Bruce Irons, former winner, and Mackay McNamara. You know, he had everything to win this, and of course yourself. I mean, that really had to be really exciting for you.
Yeah, well, Mackay set the bar early in that heat. Obviously, it was ours to, it was all of us to try to catch up to him after he got that first wave, because it seemed a little slow and it was changing, getting kind of big, so it wasn't what we were used to in the heats prior to that quite as much, you know. It was more moving around, so a little tougher to sort of find them. Easier it was more, earlier it was more in one zone. You know, but then I got this couple. He had a bad wipeout. Somehow, I mean, I've never seen a half an hour out there where Jamie and Bruce didn't get a start. I don't understand that. But Jamie goes, well, if I got to get second to somebody, I guess you're good. And I said, well, I know you'd rather get second to me than John. So, but yeah, it was fun. I mean, spectacular day, perfect conditions, the wind, swell, everything. I mean, you just couldn't have a better day. So I'm stoked.
We're going to see you back next year to defend.
Man, I'm going to surf in this thing till I'm like 80 if they'll give me a spot. You kidding me? You get to surf pipe with no one out? Come on, let's go.
Ladies and gentlemen, how about a round of applause for your 2016 Volcom Pipe Pro champion, Mr. Kelly Slater, Jamie O'Brien, Bruce Irons, and Makai McNamara. Back up to you guys up above.
Thank you so much, Bo. What a moment to celebrate here at Pipeline. This event will go down in history as one of the greatest ever scored for waves, and having the legends of the sport work their way through a final, and you can see how much it meant to all of them. Kelly alongside O'Brien, Bruce Irons, and Makai McNamara. They had so much to be thankful for. Them being in the water themselves, you can see how much they push each other to get a wave of a lifetime. And I know watching you, Vaughn, during that special moment when Bruce got the Chesser Award.
Oh, that was heavy. I was, yeah, choking up big time. I mean, we start this event off with a blessing. It's a very spiritual event. We all hold hands. It's a magic moment. And then, you know, Mother Nature came to the party. We just had cranking waves. And then to have Jeannie Chesser up there and Sia Molosky's girls, you know, putting the lays over the surfers. And you could just see how much that meant to Bruce. And I think we all had a bit of, you know, the old running highlights there, boys, because that was amazing to see that.
By far, we have so much to be thankful for, especially this amazing surfing community. And now our favorite time of the post show. It wouldn't be the same if we didn't have the Riddler's
All right.
picks.
Are we going to the picks?
Come through finals there. Are you ready, Rick?
I'm ready if you guys are ready.
All
Everybody
right.
join in on this one because it's all one big happy family.
Let's have some fun. We'll kick things off.
All right, guys. Are you ready for Riddle's picks of the day? All right, here we go. Let's wind them up. Marco Giorgi. What a display this gentleman put on. This one, long, drawn out, double pump, triple pump, comes out the back, decides to get back in again, and comes out of that one.
Bruce Irons making the list next
Bruce,
for you.
always a pleasure, making his way to the final, riding pipe like no other. Just incredible displays of backside surfing.
That's the Chesser Award right there on that one, boys. That was monster.
San Clemente, California, Chris Ward just keeps impressing me all the time. Just these guys have backside surfing so well down. Look at that, spit out and just, you know, take off perfect, slotted perfect, come out perfect.
Amazing ride from Chris Ward. Multiple nines along the way. Great pick.
John Florence, there's the man, you know, the myth, the legend, and, you know, shocked to not see him in the final, but just look at this display. He's doing turns on the foam ball. He's just amazing, graceful, and great to watch.
How did he find an exit on this? And this one was just, you can't even describe that. I mean, you just sit there with your mouth on the floor,
Jamie
eating
O'Brien.
sand as he gets thrown out of this one, Joe.
Sally, the master of disaster, he just keeps on going. Well, I'm sorry, that was Jamie in the end there on that 10, which we just got to call that a Jamie O'Brien ride, period. Kelly, riding what I'm thinking is like a 6.6 there, just slotted perfectly, knows the place probably better than anyone, in all honesty, and look at this driving force in the pit on the foam ball.
Coached beautifully into that by Vitet Murder, no doubt.
That's right. And then also getting in the mix here, Slater on fire, extending his bottom turns, packing the barrel. He was so impossible to beat, and I like your call when we started the post show, Rid. The best backside surfer ever here at Pipeline.
Ever. And he read that wave like a book that's been read many times and just got that. Seriously. And then Makai. You know, wheels didn't fall off, needed a big score to come back from an interference, gets a bomb out the back, sits out the back, waits for a bomb, gets the 10, makes the final at the Volcom Pipeline Pro. What a day.
The emotion just there too, you know, had that interference, clearly frustrated, was the splashing water around and just gets the wave of a lifetime to make the final. That's as good as it gets.
Just looking at the riddle of the day and Riddle's picks, that could be a Volcom movie right there. And on the final day, it just really maxed out. We got to remember all those amazing rides. And when you get 10s to kind of match the quality of surf that we had today, it almost felt a little bit more radical on finals day than yesterday's perfection. The wipeouts looked more intense. And Vaughn, it really looked like these guys had to put a little bit more on the line to make their exits.
I think it was more intense. That pulse that we were expecting really came on strong, and the way that the waves were all bending in on each other, it almost looked like they were going to backwash when they got into the shore, because we had the rights coming right in, a big horseshoe, and the lefts doing the same. And the wipeouts really, really meant something today. You could feel the earth shake every single time someone went over the falls.
That's right. Well, we have to thank our amazing production crew with Uncle Toad's Media Group. Everyone working so hard in the truck behind the scenes, from all the camera people on the beach, working from sun up to sundown, to everyone directing and producing in the truck. It truly has been a really memorable ride, and a big thanks to all of our sponsors from start to finish to make this dream come true. Once again, Volcom, youth against establishment. We're all grown up now, but we're still applying to those same rules, Riddle. Feeling pretty good about what happened today?
Especially Riddle.
I guess, you know, I'm the oldest grum in the world kind of thing, and youth against establishment. What can I say? We don't want to dwell too deep into that because I'm way too heavy for normality. But I'm fitting with that company so well, and you guys have been a pleasure to work with.
Likewise,
I'm
mate. Likewise.
bookended by just geniuses and legends, I swear. This has been this has been the best 2 full days of surfing I maybe have ever seen.
And you've been
That's
here
huge.
since the first Pipe Masters.
Yeah, yeah.
That's huge. I'm running with that too, Riddle. Here we go.
Enormous. What a couple days. Just, I'm blown away.
On behalf of the entire crew here at the Volcom Pipe Pro, we thank you so much for watching. We'll leave you with the incredible highlights, which has been a historical event. Big congrats to Kelly Slater on your big win, and hopefully we'll see you soon, maybe at the Oz Open, which is the next stop on the World Surf League. Take care. Have a good one.
Peace out.
Welcome to a fine Tuesday morning here on the North Shore of Oahu for the Volcom Pipe Pro.
It's 8 to 12 foot local size, 15 foot plus on the sets. Conditions are good to epic. Offshore winds, sunny skies. It's a go.
Mason Ho locking in on the backhand. His stance nice and forward, and a look back into the barrel, and it spits right in his face.
Marco Giorgi on a long runner. No
No
way.
way.
Look at this
No
backdoor
way.
wave.
Big, mean pipe wave, dragging down to the bottom. Double up, thick one for Bruce Iron, and he's out. Here we go, John Florence. Pulling into a big pipeline barrel, it's growling, and he comes out. John traveling, and he's out. Here we go, backing it up. J.O.B. falling out of the sky, pumping down the line. In the barrel, the way spins, he comes out. Oh my goodness. Are you kidding me?
Locking in nice and deep, Mackay McNamara.
Mackay on a big pipeline beast. Giant room, and he comes out. Oh my God, game on.
And now a familiar feeling back for the greatest of all time. Kelly Slater takes his second Volcom Pipe Pro.
Well, it's great out there. 6 to 8 foot. It's perfect offshore winds. Ideal conditions here at Pipeline. Should be a great day. Day number 2 of the Volcom Pipe Pro.
Here we go, Alex Smith, backdoor barrel, big roomy square, traveling, and Alex comes out of that beautiful backdoor wave.
Silvera on the backhand, getting spit out.
Silvera in the barrel, big pipeline, and he comes out again.
And here comes a solid one at Pipeline, letting go of the rail, getting blown out is Kieran Jabor. Knifing the takeoff, Tori Meister hanging onto the rail, it's gonna spit him out. And an absolute bomb of a barrel at Pipeline.
From way deep. Ooh, Joan Duru just blasted.
Crunch time right now. Here we go, 1 minute remaining. Bruce Irons with a late takeoff. Backdoor barrel, standing tall, coming out.
Goes from third to first, just like that.
Wow, pulling the trigger, backdoor barrel pulls in, he's got to get on the gas pedal, and he comes out.